And it's Andrey Rublev who will now start to make his walk through the tunnel. The Rublev Arena is packed with flags, Serbian flags, those homemade posters. I'm not sure if the lady is back here with the big Polaroid of Djokovic holding what we believe to be her daughter when she was a baby, but we shall see. And soon you're going to hear the heartbeat as they make their way through this corridor of champions, the black carpet. It's a very warm corridor on the blue lighting, the names of the winners on either side, and Djokovic will pass his name towards the end and see his name on there 9 times. It's a quite phenomenal record. Andrey Rublev has this horrible record right now of being 0-6 in Grand Slam quarterfinals, looking for a first Grand Slam final. If he's to achieve that here at Melbourne Park, it doesn't get much tougher than facing the 9-time champion Novak Djokovic, looking for a 10th Australian Open semi-final.
Singles quarterfinals on Rublev Arena. Please welcome the tournament 5th seed, Andrey Rublev.
He's the 5th seed, he's the world number 6, he's 25 years of age in that 7th Grand Slam quarterfinal, second Australian Open quarterfinal, having reached this stage in 2021, and he got a really good win against Holger Rune to book his place in this last 8 clash.
Tournament 4th seed, Novak Djokovic. But
he's so much more than the 4th seed. He's a 9-time champion. He's won 9 of his 12 Australian Open quarter-finals. 13th Australian Open quarter-final. 54th Grand Slam quarter-final. And he's won 21 of 22 matches against top 10 players at the Australian Open. That one defeat was against Wawrinka in 2014, the quarter-final stage. And when it gets to this stage, Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, Andy Murray, Novak Djokovic, the numbers are crazy in terms of what they are achieving, the latter stages they are reaching, the wins they have. I mean, you could go on and on with what Djokovic has done.
Yeah, and just when you were saying there, this is 54th Grand Slam quarterfinal, and for Rublev it's his 7th, and you know, they're 10 years I think apart in age, and it's just that wealth of experience that sits with Novak. He's been here so many times before. He kind of owns this court. He's won the title here so many times that you have to be thinking, I know he's chasing the 22, but the way that he played against Diminer and the fact that he has this wealth of experience in this situation, can't really see past him, you know, but a massive opportunity for Rublev. He's got to serve well, he's got to hit that big forehand, he's got to play the match of his life.
Yeah, he certainly has. James Giathavong is the voice you can hear. We've got a little photo with a young man in the middle. I mean, how about that?
Okay, Preston, you come
stretching his arms. No, Preston's like, I don't want to come out. Hang on a second. But he has moved out. He's going to do the coin toss. The photo between Rublev and Djokovic, the smile between the two, a fourth meeting between the two. Very rarely there is a question. Preston. Preston's going to do the coin toss. Andrey Rublev went AO. You had to think about it.
Ken Rosewell. Serve.
Hang on, there we go. I think Djokovic is going to serve.
Okay.
Rublev is trying to figure out which side of the court he wants to stand. I think he's got that figured out. A sort of perplexed look on Andrey Rublev's face. But Russell, that is the kind of standard on-court expression from Andrey Rublev.
Yeah, it doesn't change very much, does it? But he looked fairly relaxed there. I did see him smiling just before the coin toss. I wonder what he's thinking going into this match, having come so close to winning one of those Grand Slam quarterfinals at Roland Garros last year. That was a very, very painful defeat for him. I don't know whether you've spoken about that so far, but losing that match tiebreak to Marin Cilic by 10 points to 2. This quarterfinal is not one that anybody is expecting him to win, so maybe that means that he can loosen up a little bit and give it absolutely everything. Not just facing Novak Djokovic, but it's the issue that you're facing Novak Djokovic in Australia, where he's not lost a match for 5 years.
Judy, this might be an impossible question to answer, but when it comes to Andrey Rublev, a lot of people say, does he believe, will he believe? If a player does it, how do you make a player believe? And maybe there is no answer to this question I'm putting to you, but that's the one thing that's levelled at Andrey Rublev. Does he have the belief that he can do it?
Yeah, I don't know him well enough to really have a feel for that, but if I were coaching someone in this situation, I would 100% be watching matches of Rublev playing against Novak and of Novak playing against other right-handers and really preparing him as well as possible for the things to watch out for. Where's Novak going to hurt you? Where can you hurt him? If he puts you in trouble, how do you get out of trouble? What's the predictability on his serves, on big points, for example? You know, to help him to be as prepared tactically and mentally as he can going into this, so that, I mean, I can see him here, he's really blowing out, you know, he's really focusing on his breathing, which is absolutely something, that and moving your feet a lot, you know, if you're nervous, which obviously in a big stage like this you're going to be. But Rublev has nothing, he has nothing to lose here, he has everything to gain. You know, and like I said, he's going to have to play the match of his life, but we saw how he came back from 5-love down in that deciding tie-break against Rune with huge serves, incredible patience and a big forehand. So he's going to have to be as focused and as positive as he can possibly be if he's going to get through this match.
Cannot wait for this one. This is to lock in our semi-finals. We really are at the business end of the Australian Open. We have in the top half of the draw Karen Khachanov against Stefanos Tsitsipas. In the women's draw, if you're just joining us, maybe you missed yesterday as well, where have you been? Elena Rybakina will take on Victoria Azarenka. Magdalena will take on Arina Sabalenka. It means we have one spot left to fill. It will be filled by the 9-time champion, or it will be filled by a first-time Grand Slam semi-finalist. Just to keep you across, Neil Skupski, defeat for him in the doubles early day with Wesley Koolhof, and he's up against it with Desiree Krauchek in the mixed doubles semi-finals, because Mercer and Bopana, they lead by a set and then lead by a break by 3 games to 2. So we'll keep you across as Novak Djokovic is introduced to the Rod Laver Arena crowd. And after the serve, he puts the arm up with the racket and he acknowledges his fans within the arena, and there are many. The sun is still shining down. It's 8:45 in the morning. It's a grey, grizzly, cold morning in the UK, but I have a feeling that what we have ahead of us is going to warm us up nicely. 71 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 degrees Celsius locally. It is sunny, and the first set is now minutes away from getting underway. Hashtag BBC Tennis at 5Live Sport. Commentary will come courtesy of Annabelle Croft, Judy Murray, and correspondent Russell Fuller.
Thank you, Gigi. Yes, it's been a beautiful day in Melbourne, but the hottest day we've had for a while, and probably a little bit too hot, ideally, for a stroll through the Botanical Gardens, Judy.
Yeah, it was a little bit too hot for me, I have to say. I had the sun cream on, the cap on, the shades on, and actually, yeah, I wasn't out there for too long, I have to say.
It is a beautiful part of Melbourne, though, isn't it? I normally go 2 or 3 times every year. I've not had a chance to go this year, but I have another 4 days to try and make sure I just have a little tour, because it's lovely to see everything in bloom, isn't it? And we go back to the UK, and obviously we don't see an enormous amount in bloom at this time of the year.
Yeah, well, I'm heading back tomorrow night, and I'm told that the snow has disappeared from where I live, which is good news, but it's still wet and wild and cold. So I'm making the most of it, and I love around the Botanical Gardens. Domain Road has some great cafes and restaurants, so that's where you go to cool off after you've had a walk around the Botanical Gardens.
14 minutes to 8 then in Melbourne, and this is Novak Djokovic's 54th Grand Slam quarterfinal. He has won 43 of those he's played so far. And in Australia, as we've been saying, he's been literally unbeatable for 5 years now. Last defeat was by Chung Hyun, a semi-finalist in the year he beat Djokovic in the 4th round in 2018. He's had all sorts of foot problems since. It's one of the sadder stories in tennis in recent years, but Novak Djokovic, a few bumps along the way admittedly, but he's gone from strength to strength. He's currently a 21-time Grand Slam singles champion. He'd love to make it number 22 and draw level with Rafael Nadal here in Melbourne, and he's serving from the far end here on BBC Sounds 5 Sports Extra. His first serve was a fault. His second serve is onto the forehand of Rublev. Rublev has a swing, but he's been given a nice little gift by Djokovic. Very, very rarely would you see Novak Djokovic double fault at the first point of a match.
Yeah, very rare, and you could tell the crowd wasn't expecting it either. A big groan went up.
Yeah, and a lot of ball bouncing before putting that second serve into play, which sort of gave the indication that he's a little bit nervous himself.
3 serves missed in a row. Djokovic has won 2 of his 3 meetings with Rublev, so they haven't met as many times as you would have expected given their high rankings. This serve is good, and the forehand into the net by the Russian, the 5th seed here, 25 years of age, 6 foot 2 inches tall, desperately hoping that tonight is the night he makes a first Grand Slam semi-final at the 7th time of asking.
I thought it was very noticeable, Russell and Judy, at the net when they were doing the sort of the pictures with the ball kid and then some more pictures on their own. Rublev did not get any eye contact whatsoever with Novak.
An ace from Djokovic. That's an interesting spot.
Yeah, he was looking everywhere but at Novak, and even though there was sort of smiles between them, the eye contact wasn't there at all. It was fascinating.
30-15. Backhand reply from Rublev is long. After the double fault, Djokovic very quickly to 40-15. If he wins this match, Djokovic, it will be a 26th consecutive win at the Australian Open, which would equal Andrey Agassi's record, set between 2000 and 2004. This is the second time in Djokovic's Australian Open career that he's managed to win 25 matches in a row. And the overall win streak in Australia is 38 matches, because you've got to factor in a couple of unbeaten appearances in the ATP Cup, as Rublev hits a very pleasing forehand cross-court service return winner and his run for the title in Adelaide in the first week of 2023.
Well, that was a sensational return of serve. We're getting another look at it on our replays here, and he just managed to get out there wide on that wide serve from Novak Djokovic, get his body weight behind it and really struck it back cross court with interest.
So 40-30, Djokovic serving into the net. Second serve as a few of the latecomers take their seats in the upper tier of this Rod Laver Arena that seats around 15,000 people. Rublev into the net with the backhand, immediately looks round to the coaching team in his box. That was half an opportunity, but Djokovic looks after his serve in the opening game, and I'm not sure we can read too much into that, can we, Judy?
Probably not. I mean, unusual for him to start with a double fault, but then he, in the next 3 points, he got, first serve, no return, ace, first serve, no return, and then a couple of second serves, so I suppose 50%. But I think they both need to serve a high percentage here. You could see what Rublev did off the first second serve that he got, the slightly shorter second serve from Novak, and he just stepped in, he took it so early, created the most incredible angle, and that's where he's so dangerous on the forehand side. So Novak will have done his homework. He has a team of analysts with him, tagging all his matches and scouting opponents, so I'm sure he knows exactly what he needs to do here.
The winner of this match to play Tommy Paul, the 25-year-old world number 35 from the United States, who beat Ben Shelton, the 20-year-old from America, in 4 sets today. Remarkably, Andrey Rublev opens his serving account in this quarter-final with a double fault of his own.
Well, I think he might be going for a little bit more on his second serve today, because that was always the area, wasn't it, that's slightly weaker. It's improved a lot, but under immense pressure, it can get a little short and attackable.
This serve is in, good returning by Djokovic. You wouldn't expect anything else. Djokovic with the slice backhand down the line, nice shape on that ball. He's got a backhand which he pushes to the forehand of Rublev now, Djokovic. Rublev down the line with the forehand onto the sideline. More fabulous defence from Djokovic. Backhand Djokovic to the Rublev backhand. Djokovic with the backhand down the line. Rublev cross-court with the forehand. Djokovic goes cross-court with the forehand. More pace on that forehand cross-court by Rublev. Backhand Rublev, backhand from Djokovic. Rublev hammers the backhand down the line, but Djokovic looked to have so much time, but just did a little bit too much with that forehand. He goes wide and he goes long, and a wonderful rally. By far and away the longest of this short match so far, stretching over 25 shots, goes the Russians' way.
Incredible rally, and important for Rublev to use up all the time that he's allocated between the points to get his breath back and reset himself for this third point.
15-all, James Kjosevong getting the shot clock started, counting down from 25 to about 3. And Rublev had enough time, clearly, to find a good first serve and then a forehand down the line put away.
Yeah, not a lot on that chipped, blocked return of serve from Novak Djokovic. It just sat up invitingly. Those kind of points are going to be lapped up by Rublev. I'm not sure he's going to get too many of those types of balls, though.
Rublev just pumping his fist. Service winner down the tee. You heard the effort Djokovic made to get to the ball, but it was just the frame of his racket that reached the ball in the end, and Rublev, after the double fault, has put together 3 very impressive points.
Oh, he did something weird at the end of that, sort of flailing at the ball, Djokovic. He just sort of protected and hopped and skipped on that leg, trying to protect the left thigh. Something was a bit weird there.
Forehand from Djokovic onto the backhand of Rublev. That's into the net, and that's what we saw from time to time in the first 3 rounds, wasn't it, Annabelle? That hop at the end of a point, as you say, I think, to try and preserve the leg as much as possible.
Well, it almost indicates that he's tweaked it, but then he kind of walks it out and it seems to be okay. But, you know, we never saw any of that in the previous round against Domino, so that's the first time we've seen it early in this match.
Excellent serve here by Rublev, but Djokovic has turned this point around. How about that? First getting the return in play, and then after Rublev didn't do enough with the short ball, the lob just inside the baseline forces Rublev to scramble to the back of the court, and ultimately there was little he could do. Brilliant from Djokovic to keep this game alive.
Just extraordinary retrieving capabilities from Novak. How many times did we see that against Domino, where he'd be on the full stretch and just be able to put a lob on the baseline? And those kind of points really eat away psychologically to an opponent, and Rublev looking a little stressed after that.
Yeah, Juice, this is a second serve, backhand Djokovic, backhand Rublev, slice backhand from Djokovic, Rublev with the off forehand to the Djokovic backhand, he's slicing this onto the Rublev forehand, cross court goes Djokovic, backhand Rublev, Rublev running onto the forehand, but he was very much on the back foot, just a little bit of extra injection of pace there, Judy, and, well, for all Rublev's good effort in the early part of this game, he finds himself break point down.
Yeah, Novak playing a lot of slices right from the outset here and almost slowing the ball down to Rublev's forehand and working him into the backhand side to, and then exposing the forehand.
Break point. Djokovic on the first Andrey Rublev service game. Second serve from the Russian. Forehand Rublev down the line. Djokovic with the forehand to the backhand of Rublev. Djokovic just gets there. Hits the backhand, but he's exposed. And Rublev will very happily, and with great relief, hit a forehand down the line winner.
Yeah, you almost took the words out of my mouth, Judy. I was noticing as well how many slice backhands he's brought in early in this match. And even though Rublev did end up beating Dan Evans in this event, in the previous matches that I've watched, he's often been troubled by a lot of slices from Dan Evans. So it's so interesting to see the tactics that Novak is bringing into this match early on.
Second serve, Rublev. Juice in his opening service game. Backhand from Rublev, hitting to the forehand of Djokovic. Another forehand for the 9-time Australian Open champion. An error from Djokovic. Cross-court and a little wild on the forehand.
I would say that the forehand side of Djokovic, if you get it deep enough, is more likely to produce an unforced error than the backhand side is.
And there is a forehand miscued by Djokovic. Good serve from Rublev down the line. And it's level at 1 game all. And marginally more likely, I think. What you're saying is that there's not a great deal wrong with it.
It's got to be an incredible shot,
but it's not
to break
quite as
him
good
down,
as the backhand.
But you've got to find something to go at. And I would say that you will get a little more out of the forehand if you're attacking it.
One game all, now 4 games all in the second set on the Margaret Court Arena, the mixed doubles semi-final. So Desiree Kravchuk and Neil Skupski having lost the first set on a tie-break to Sanya Mirza and Rohan Bopanna, back on serve in the second. Djokovic there striking an ace. Lots of action still around the grounds. Junior matches, wheelchair matches being played. This the last singles match of the day ahead of the semi-finals starting tomorrow, with the women's semi-finals in prime time from 8:30 a.m. in the UK. Rublev into the net with a forehand cross court. Didn't face a single break point against Alex de Minaur, Novak Djokovic. Even he said it was pretty much the perfect match. And it left Alex de Minaur admitting he didn't really know what to try and do next. He was dismantled by Djokovic on this Rod Laver Arena in front of the Australian crowd 48 hours ago. One all. 30 love. Novak Djokovic directly in front of me and Judy Murray here in the commentary box on the Rod Laver Arena. Second double fault in 2 service games for Djokovic.
It was a weird one, wasn't it? Because it came out of the strings pretty flat, very aggressively, and shaking his head after that one, missing it quite long. Never really looked like making it, that serve.
(30-15).
There's a sort of tension in the air, isn't there?
Yeah, the ball bouncing is very noticeable in the early stages. The serve very effective from Djokovic. High return by Rublev, little prospect of making the contours of the court. So these are a couple of game points for a 2-1 lead now in this opening set of the final men's quarter-final.
He's definitely bouncing the ball a lot more before trying to deliver the serve than he has done in previous matches, and that's always an indication that there's extra nerves going through his body.
Yep. And interesting that it should be like that from the very word go. Sometimes the nerves can disappear as players get into the match, but this is a big deal for both players. Doesn't matter how many times you've been there before. So much resting on this tournament for Novak Djokovic. He's hitting a backhand cross-court to the Andrey Rublev backhand, and that's a bad backhand by Djokovic. Very uncharacteristic as he hits the backhand into the net.
Yeah, and he's heaving quite a bit after that, and that's often when you're nervous and the breathing gets up high in your chest. But I did notice that second serve really short by his standards. I mean, it was halfway up the box.
One game point remaining for Djokovic. Backhand down the line, just catching the top of the net, but not affecting the passage of the ball. Forehand cross-court winner from Djokovic, apologising now to Rublev. Not that it made a huge difference to the point, and he's done enough to win the game and lead by 2-1. But both have made a few errors, and both have had a little bit of hard work to do, as the Djokovic team seem to be trying to get a message to their man, pass a bottle of water to him. Earlier, I think, in the tournament, there was a message stuck to one of those bottles.
Well, I'm not sure if
and
it
looks
was
like
a
it might be
message,
the same again.
Russell.
Was it not a message?
Well,
there's some tape on that
as
bottle.
a message, but what I did notice was it was a little sachet that was taped to the bottle, and when he was given the bottle, he then took the tape off and then tipped whatever was in it into the bottle and then gave it a shake and then drank it. So it was obviously some sort of electrolyte thing. But then I saw reports saying, oh, he had a message on it, but I thought, well, that's not what I saw. I just saw this sachet attached to it. Maybe it has to be put in.
What I thought was a note was actually a bit of tape with a sachet that was not very immediately visible to the naked eye. Gigi, any further news from the Margaret Court Arena?
I tell you, there's no escaping the eagle eyes of Annabelle Croft. Everybody watch out. We've got the zoom on your commentary box in Melbourne, so you guys be careful over there. Our hour and 24 minutes of this semi-final involving Neil Skupski and Ziri Kravchuk, who the third seeds take on Sanya Mirza, who will retire from tennis in Dubai next month, and Rohan Bapana. Now, twice in the second set, Skupski and Kravchuk have come from behind, come from a breakdown. It's 5-all. Ziri Kravchuk is serving. They are a set down, and it is love 15. And just to let you know, elsewhere from British point of view, in court 6, quarter-final in the wheelchair women's doubles, Lucy Schuker and Dana Matthewson are up against Kruger and Bernal. And I can tell you it's an unseeded meeting, but Matthewson and Schuker have taken the first set 6-2, and they have 2-love and an early break in the second.
Rublev's not happy. He's put a backhand into the net. He's gesturing towards either the photographers, the camera crews, the broadcasters courtside, the crowd. It clearly wasn't his fault. He's love 15 down, 1-2. He's had to save a break point in his opening game of this quarter-final. Love 15, second serve, forehand return from Djokovic, a slightly short return. Here's the defensive lob from Djokovic, which is a challenging one, but that was nicely done on the smash by Andrey Rublev.
It reminded me of junior tennis when you're talking about a possible message being taped to a bottle there. I've seen that so many times. Parents or coaches writing things on a bottle and passing it.
In the days when it wasn't allowed.
Quite funny.
Yes.
Message on a bottle as opposed to message in a
In a
bottle.
bottle.
Forehand return from Djokovic, very good, very deep, so close to the baseline. Forehand cross-court from Rublev. Rublev with a forehand to the Djokovic backhand. Rublev with a forehand cross-court with a little bit of extra weight on that. Hitting powerfully from the baseline and winning the rally, Rublev, as Djokovic puts his backhand into the net.
Oh, he nearly fell over, didn't he, when he hit that backhand? And interesting to see Djokovic going after the strength of Rublev. He's not allowing Rublev to hit his forehand from where he wants to, but really going cross-court into it and really sort of taking the pace into that side. But eventually Rublev coming out on top.
30-15, nice forehand winner from Rublev. Onto that quickly behind a good first serve.
I don't think Djokovic...
You would imagine, wouldn't you, with the taping being on the left leg, that the backhand side would be the side to go after.
Yeah, whether it's even an issue now, and therefore could it disrupt your game plan perhaps to your disadvantage by perhaps reading too much into the injury? It's a difficult one to gauge, isn't it, as Rublev goes along?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more tension in Djokovic today, and I think it's in his head a little bit more, and I've seen him sort of just pulling up, and he just trotted out on that last point. I don't think he's feeling quite the way he did against Dominor. Maybe it's just emotion and tension.
I don't know whether there was extra motivation in that match against Alex de Minaur the other day. Nice return cross-court by Djokovic. His forehand is a winner. Beautifully struck, and he's got juice on the Andrey Rublev serve for the second time in 2 games. We remember that I don't think Alex de Minaur said anything remotely controversial last year about the attention surrounding Novak Djokovic. He said what you'd expect an Australian to say in Australia, that it would be time to move on. He had the option, he could have had the vaccine, he could have come into the country. It'd be nice for other players to now get some attention, but I'm pretty sure Novak Djokovic took note of those words, and he couldn't have played better on Monday night in the 4th round. Rublev down the tee, high return from Djokovic, long.
For somebody as slightly built as Rublev is, he is certainly able to pack a punch with this first serve.
Oh, that was a little volley return from the baseline by Rublev. So deep was the return of Djokovic, it caught him slightly by surprise. And he did okay, but Djokovic has come in and hit that forehand away to take us to juice for a second time.
Djokovic has played almost an identical point there. You know, big serve to the backhand, incredible angle to take Rublev off. The ball comes back up the middle and he whips it forehand into the forehand corner.
Yeah, it was actually a half volley I saw on the replay that Rublev played from the baseline. He shanked a forehand now, Rublev. Break point down for the second game in a row.
Feels like he's being rushed back there and being pinned onto the baseline, not allowing him to sort of take control or dictate the play, Djokovic is onto him.
Djokovic with a break point for a 3-1 lead. Rublev serves into the net. Second serve, double fault when break point down, Rublev. Djokovic hits the front already. 4 games gone, he leads by 3 games to 1.
Well,
ominous.
You could see, yeah, it was ominous, and well, it is ominous, but you could see how Rublev did not want Djokovic to try and attack that second serve, went for a bit more on it, and of course it produced the error, and that's purely coming from pressure, knowing that the returner is so good.
So it's 3 games to 1. We're only in the first set of this quarter-final with Tommy Paul, the world number 35, awaiting in the last 4. But Djokovic looking good early on, as Annabelle and Judy have been saying.
It's like a
few
slightly
nerves
strange
in Djokovic's
atmosphere.
system, but he's looking pretty good at 3-1, 15 love and an ace there. It is at the moment, isn't it, Annabelle? I think probably because that's a good effort to return the serve by Rublev, and Djokovic does well to put away that short return from the Russian. I think probably most of the people inside the arena are assuming that Novak Djokovic is probably going to win this match in straight sets, and they can now see that starting to take shape, and they would love to see a long classic match that they talk about for years and years to come. And it may still turn out to be that way, but I suspect they're thinking this is going pretty much the way we thought it might so far. Very deep forehand return from Rublev, wins in that point against the Djokovic serve, though. Very, very few empty seats, though. Djokovic at 30-15. That's quite a big miss as he goes down the tee. Second serve for Djokovic. Backhand reply from Rublev. That caught Djokovic by surprise. And Djokovic has pushed a forehand back into the tape.
Yeah, Rublev has returned most of those backhands from the ad side cross court. So switching it up and going deep into the forehand corner of Novak definitely took him by surprise there.
Good play by Rublev. He's now got 30 all on the Djokovic serve. Forehand into the net from Rublev. Djokovic with a game point for 4-1. So the previous 6 quarterfinals Rublev has been involved in, he's lost to Rafa Nadal. That was 5.5 years ago now. He was a teenager in his first quarterfinal at the US Open. To Daniil Medvedev twice. To Stefanos Tsitsipas. To Francis Tiafoe at the US Open last year, so that would certainly be the match in which he was the higher seed. An ace from Djokovic to move to 4-1. He lost that in straight sets. And the most painful one of all at Roland Garros in June, when, having taken Marin Cilic to a 5th set tiebreak, Cilic came out and just went for everything and won the tiebreak by 10 points to 2. And Rublev was really, really down on himself at the end of that match, saying that it was entirely mental. I just didn't manage my emotions. And when a player's being that honest, Judy, you have a lot of sympathy for them.
Yeah, and it's a bit like what we saw with Rune in the last match against Rublev, because we're sitting in a commentary position where we can see the facial expressions very, very easily. You know that Rune at 19, he has to learn how to handle all of these situations and the nerves and the excitement and the adrenaline, and it's not easy. You've got to go through a few tough losses before you can master that.
Gigi, how's that second set looking in the mixed doubles semi-final?
It's getting nervy on the Margaret Court Arena. Mertza and Bopana had a match point in the 12th game of the second set, having taken the first set against Kravchuk and Skupski. They didn't get it, as we know. It's a deciding point, so we are now 5 points into a second set tiebreak. It's Sanja Mertza serving at 2-3. Kravchuk and Skupski got to win this set or they are out of the competition. Then I'm assuming, Russ, Neil Skupski will be on a plane to Colombia?
That is the plan, certainly. Davis Cup tie, Great Britain against Colombia, is Friday and Saturday of next week. I know the plan was for Leon Smith and Dan Evans to fly from here, I think on Wednesday. That seemed the plan 2 or 3 days ago anyway. But it's a complicated place to get to. You have to cross the international date line, and you've got to get over any jet lag, and then you've got to acclimatise to playing at 2,500 metres above altitude. So it's going to be a tough turnaround, but if that tie-break is lost, that will probably have to be the journey that faces Neil Skupski. Forehand from Novak Djokovic. He leads by 4 games to 1 in this first set. Andrey Rublev is serving at 15-love. He's at the far end in our commentary backs. He's been given the run around here by Djokovic, who's led him back into the point for a second, but then a nice backhand volley, slightly wrong footing. Rublev makes sure that the point does after all go to Serbia.
It was a great point from Novak. I mean, you don't see him come up to the net that often, but it was the wrong footer, the backhand line, followed by the forehand into the same corner, and then the backhand volley into the same corner as well. Really smart play.
Yeah, and he looked very calm in that point, didn't he? Just looked like he had plenty of time on the ball, really directing it into that forehand corner. Really stunning point. He's sort of really asserting himself in this opening set.
1-4, 15 all. That's paddled back by Djokovic, and a bad shank from Rublev. Barely bounced before the clock in the far corner of the court, and there are very, very large runoff areas here on the Rod Laver Arena, as there are on all the show courts at the Grand Slams.
I'm just wondering how windy it is on the court, Russell, because
yeah,
there is a bit of breeze visible, isn't it?
Yeah. It was quite windy earlier. The forecast suggested the wind was going to drop in the evening, but it was something I was going to mention. It's definitely a little bit of a factor. Djokovic has missed the forehand. I think quite often here, Judy, the wind is not a big factor, because even though the roof is open, it's quite an enclosed court, Rod Laver.
Yeah, I think the shirts are a bit of a giveaway, though. I think the wind can gather and be more tricky than perhaps we might realise.
30 all, backhand into the net by Rublev. He's break point down again. 3rd game in a row, broken in the last game, and Djokovic threatening to break once more. This point is for a 5-1 advantage.
Yeah, and it's that depth of return, isn't it? Rublev's hardly finished the service motion, and that ball is right at his feet, and he's just not reacting quick enough.
Break point down, but there's a nice forehand winner by Rublev. The off forehand into Djokovic's backhand corner.
He hits that one so well, doesn't he, Rublev? It's almost like his go-to shot.
Timed at 144 kilometres an hour, that winner. Good serve here from Rublev too. Djokovic not able to make that forehand, so game point for Rublev, who beat Dominic Thiem in the first round. Dan Evans was his 3rd round opponent.
Just complaining about something. Is it somebody in that crowd again? I'm happy about it.
I would imagine that's what he was talking, Novak Djokovic, to James Kiyothavong about. There was an incident in his 2nd round match against Enzo Cuoco, the qualifier, where he felt that the officials should have acted a little bit swifter to remove a couple of people who he said were insulting and provoking him. Backhand from Djokovic, cross court, so close to the sideline, and he will not need to make the volley. So back to deuce. And he felt that he was made to look the bad guy, in that he was the one who was looking as if he was trying to get these 2 people kicked out, and he felt that if security or maybe the officials had done their job before that, he wouldn't have had to play that role. Fabulous return by Djokovic. Rublev can only helplessly push that beyond the baseline, and this is the 2nd break point of this game alone.
It always amazes me how he's prepared to take on a situation like that so early in this set. He's in control, there's no need to get stressed, and yet it gives the opportunity for the crowd to start booing, doesn't it?
Good serve from Rublev, and the high return just long by Djokovic, and they were very, very quick to jeer and whistle, weren't they? Not a massive section of the crowd, but we could certainly hear the response from quite a few here on the Rod Laver Arena.
But it puts him in a more vulnerable position when he starts to kind of get situations like that going, and I'm always surprised that he wants to do that, because it's sort of inciting it a little bit.
Backhand cross-court just mistimed by Rublev, so we are back to deuce. I mean, I've noticed him doing that more recently, Judy, whether it's on the court or in media conferences. If he feels he's been wronged, instead of just saying, well, what can I do, I'll let it wash over me, he's actually been trying to put the record straight and calling people out for injustices as he sees it. Rublev, his break point down again. Forehand from Djokovic right onto the baseline. Djokovic with the forehand, that is a little bit too long. But maybe as we all get older, we're probably more likely to say what we feel, aren't we, Judy Murray?
Yeah, why not? I think it's that innate kind of fighting spirit that if something is wrong or you're aggrieved about it, that you do just rail against it.
Backhand reply by Djokovic. Rublev fighting very hard just to realistically stay in touch in this first set, but he's given Djokovic another break point here by hitting his forehand a little bit too long.
Yeah, I also think it underlines Novak's strength of character, that he doesn't care if he starts getting the crowd booing against him. It doesn't bother him. You know, a lot of players, it might bother them, but he just sort of, yeah, wants to assert himself, say his point, and get the umpire to do something about it.
Good serving from Rublev. A service winner saves the third break point of this game. Gigi will be able to tell us shortly after this game about a match tiebreak that is going to decide the semi-finals of the mixed doubles. Rublev misses a first serve. Second serve, backhand from Djokovic, forehand Rublev to the Djokovic backhand. Cross-court with the forehand goes Rublev. A forehand cross-court into the net from Rublev. And Djokovic with another opportunity, a fifth break point now of this game.
Chuntering away to himself, and Goran Ivanisevic is sort of saying something back. A lot of discussion about the forehand and spin and pathway. Pained expression on Goran's face.
Forehand from Rublev, break point down. Djokovic with the forehand. Djokovic with the forehand down the line. Rublev slices his backhand, brings Djokovic into mid-course. Nice angle from Djokovic with the forehand. Hits back to the backhand of Rublev. Tries to catch him by surprise. Now the short ball from Djokovic. And this time he gets the break. Fifth opportunity. Gratefully accepted. Novak Djokovic leads Andrey Rublev by 5-1 already. 33 minutes played here on Tennis Breakfast on BBC Sounds.
Well, he's bossing and bullying the points at the moment. I just found that so fascinating with Goran. A lot, as I said, of discussion about the forehand, and Goran indicating to kind of put a bit more shape on it. I have no idea what he was saying, but considering he's so in control of this set, I'd love to have my ear to what that conversation was.
Well, I'll bring Gigi in perhaps at the change of ends, as it's 5-1 Djokovic, and he's serving for the first set, and he's starting with an ace.
He's had a lot of success with that wide serve on the deuce court. He's won a lot of points, either with aces or non-returns.
5-1, 15 love. Forehand return Rublev. Forehand down the line Djokovic, brilliantly reached. Backhand down the line from Djokovic, in complete control of his points until he misses the volley. Just tried to be a little bit too cute with that from on top of the net, and there is a glimmer of hope for 25-year-old Rublev.
Well, Rublev gesturing with his arms back towards Vicente, his coach. Not looking very comfortable out here. In fact, quite the opposite, despite winning that last point.
Djokovic at 15 all. Second serve, backhand return from Rublev. Brilliantly directed off backhand, and now cross-court goes Rublev. Its pace is slowed down by getting snagged in the net, and he's missed his follow-up forehand. And he's gesturing, and he's remonstrating, and he's looking pretty fed up with life again, Andrey Rublev, in a Grand Slam quarter-final.
He's really snatching at the forehand, though, isn't he? Novak's making him play a lot of forehands, which is normally the strength. He's just rushing it, making a lot of mistakes on it.
And I think it's what you said, Judy, about that slice backhand. That was another sort of floated slice into that forehand corner, no pace. And he didn't enjoy that. Ooh, that's a really big miss from Novak. That hit the back fence.
A shank forehand.
We can all do those.
Still with plenty of room to spare. Djokovic, you would think, in this set. 5-1, 30 all. His backhand, forehand from Rublev. Djokovic with the backhand, the Rublev forehand. Djokovic cross-court and missing, so a break point. Didn't give a single one away in his win over Alex de Minaur. But now here is a chance for Andrey Rublev to get one of the breaks back.
Even though he lost that point, Djokovic, it's just so interesting to see how many times he's going into that forehand side. Once again, not allowing Rublev to hit the forehand from the other side of the court, which is where he loves to hit it from. So he's constantly attacking that forehand side.
Great serve down the tee. Rublev long with the forehand. Break point saved. Djokovic once again 2 points away from the set. You can tell who's serving by the bouncing of the balls. Mind you, he's got nothing on Marin Cilic. First serve missed by Djokovic.
Yeah, he can do up to about 20, can't he?
Double fault. And he just held the pose there, didn't he? So for a moment he was standing on one leg as he hit that second serve into the net. Normally when you see an athlete strike a pose, a frozen follow-through, it's because they're impressed with something they've done, but not on this occasion, because Andrey Rublev has a second opportunity to get one of the two breaks back. Djokovic to the backhand of Rublev, and again it's immaculate serving when he needed it. Service winner.
And you could imagine him putting the bottles or the ball cans down there in the corners, and he'd be striking them for winners like Skittles going down.
So juice for a second time in this quarterfinal. 5-1, Djokovic leads first set. He's setting himself very high standards, exasperated at missing a first serve down the tee. Second serve now from Djokovic, the forehand from Rublev, backhand cross-court Djokovic. Rublev too goes cross-court with the backhand. Djokovic's backhand down the line, brushing the net. Forehand from Rublev, really stepping in and taking initiative in this rally. Now the smash from Rublev, back at Djokovic. Rublev with the volley, Djokovic with a passing chance. And it's just flicked the tape as he goes cross-court with the backhand, I think, or was he apologising for the earlier little tangle with the net? But either way, it was just too hot to handle. Rublev couldn't make the volley, and Djokovic now has set points.
I think it was the smash from Rublev that was his opportunity to put it away, and he played it right back into the path of Djokovic.
Yeah, and it's yet another point, isn't it, where Rublev was in control of that point but ends up coming out second best, and those kind of keep on mounting up psychologically.
Just too much pace on that backhand cross-court. Set point to Djokovic after 39 minutes. Backhand reply from Rublev. Very short return for Djokovic, who clubs the backhand cross-court. And now the Rod Laver Arena find their voice, because Djokovic has won 6 of the first 7 games of the match. And that means Gigi has the first set in the bag against Rublev by 6 games to 1.
Continued commentary to come on Andrey Rublev and Novak Djokovic, but there has been tennis played through the night here in the UK time, so let's bring you up to date with what's been going on with the time 27 minutes past 9 here on Tennis Breakfast.
Welcome to Tennis Breakfast, live from Melbourne on 5 Sports Extra.
So midnight UK time, Magdalena, the 30-year-old from Poland, was booking her spot in her first Grand Slam semi-final with a straight set 6-3, 7-5 victory over Karolina Pliskova, and that was followed up by Aryna Sabalenka, who is undefeated for 2023. She's yet to drop a set. She's the 5th seed, and she came through against Donna Vekic, who's sitting at the world number 64 but plays at a much higher level than that. But it was all Sabalenka, 6-3 and 6-2, and Tommy Paul is through to his first Grand Slam semi-final, defeating Ben Shelton. He waits the winner of Djokovic and Rublev. There was joy for Alfie Hewitt in the singles, disappointment for Gordon Reid, who he beat, but Hewitt and Reid coming through to reach the semi-finals of the doubles. Disappointment for Andy Lapthorne out of the semi-finals of the quad doubles with David Wagner. And at the moment, out on the Margaret Court Arena, Neil Skupski and Zeri Kravchuk are up against it. 6-8 down in the first to 10 tiebreak against Tanya Mirza and Rohan Bopanna. So keeping a very close eye on the Margaret Court Arena. It's to Zeri Kravchuk now serving at 6-8. But I've just, Judy, seen your son Andy's been on social media and he's tweeted, school drop-off this morning. My 6-year-old, Daddy, don't give me a kiss and a cuddle anymore when you drop me, just stay in the car.
It's tough, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's up to parents to embarrass their kids, but maybe you don't realise that at 6, but that's 6, that's early to be doing that, isn't it? Love it, he'll be gutted.
It is. I say my boys are 7 and they haven't done it quite yet. I don't give them much of a chance at school gates to run away from me, but Judy, when that first happens, but you're right. Our job is to embarrass them as our parents did to us. Right, here we go. Russell is keeping an eye, and Russell, I believe that there are now match points on the Margaret Court Arena.
Thank you.
There are 3 match points, Gigi, for Rohan Bopanna and Sanya Mirza. They're leading the match tiebreak by 9 points to 6, and they have won the semi-final. They've knocked out Neil Skupski and Desiree Kravchuk. 10-6 in the match tiebreak. Sanya Mirza in the last few weeks of her career. Rohan Bopanna still going strong at the age of 42, and they have completed a pretty miserable day for Neil Skupski, because in the men's doubles earlier in the quarter-final, he and Wesley Koolhof got a bit of a shock from an inspired Australian wildcard pair. Rinky Hijikata and Jason Kubler beat them 6-3, 6-1 in the quarter-final. So it's a quarter-final and a semi-final defeat in the space of around about 3 hours. It's a tough old business, this, Judy.
It's a tough old business, but how lovely for Sanya Mirza and Rohan Bopanna. They've known each other for years, and she's about to retire. She's given so much to the game. She's an absolute shero in her country, a real trailblazer for women in sport and women's rights. So the tour will miss her. But great to go out in a bang.
Yeah,
love it.
Wouldn't it? She's officially going to retire at Dubai, but she last claimed this title, the mixed doubles title, in 2009 with Mahesh Bhupathi. Imagine if she were to come out on top. But she has a fantastic chance being through to the final. And Annabelle Croft, exactly what Andrey Rublev needed, a comfortable service hold first game, second set.
He looked more relaxed there in that game. I think towards the end of that, he was looking more and more exasperated, gesticulating to his box, rushing at the forehand, netted a lot of them, like smothering the ball. And now that first set is out the way, I hope he can settle down a bit more and really get himself into this second set.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry about that, Annabelle. You've been switched off. No, I think you've still been switched off. Oh, no, there you are.
Oh, I'm here. Okay, well, I was just chirping away and no one could hear.
No, Judy came to your rescue.
Yes, well done.
Strength in numbers in the commentary box. That's what we have. on Tennis Breakfast.
It's like when you put yourself on mute on a phone and you don't understand why no one's responding to what you're saying.
And they're sort of pointing at you and doing all these things. You're like, oh, they're very interested in what I'm saying. No, they can't hear you. At 5 Live Sport, if you'd like to get in touch, Judy Marnie, Annabelle Croft with us for Novak Djokovic against Andrey Rublev. You're just joining us. Djokovic, the double break on the 6-1 first set. He doesn't seem the happiest, but it's a good scoreline for the first set for the 9-time champion. Andrey Rublev, how much belief, if any, does he have that he can come through this? He does have the win in the final in Belgrade last year against Novak Djokovic. Djokovic serves at 15 love down the tee, snap back. Djokovic camped inside the baseline, now retreats behind the baseline, and it's when Judy added to the forehand, he makes that noise. Wow, the strike from Rublev.
Yeah, I enjoy watching Rublev playing. I think the match against, well, the end of the match against Rune really showed me how dangerous he can be. He hasn't been able to settle into this, into the first set, and but he has a chance here.
Serving first in the second set, he will keep the scoreboard lead as long as he holds his serve. 46 minutes on the clock. The slice cross court from Djokovic, the double-hander cross court from Rublev, slice cross court from Djokovic, inside out from Rublev, slice on the stretch. It's like his feet kept getting stuck there, the way he was leaning into those shots, Djokovic.
Yeah, it's almost as if the ball didn't come through the court the way he was expecting it. It sort of stuttered, and twice he didn't really get his feet in the right position, and that last lunging shot, he really mistimed it and misjudged where that ball was going to be. So a little bit of a door opening here for Rublev. Wind is picking up as well.
Djokovic looking for his 44th Grand Slam semi-final. Andrey Rublev, his first as Djokovic. Aces down the tee, and he's chatting away to his camp. He's muttering away, Judy. He is not happy.
He's not. He's been having a lot of conversations with his camp. I can actually just see them outside of the bunker here. They look very happy, I would say, in his camp at the moment. It's just Novak that doesn't.
Maybe they're trying to sort of get those good, happy vibes across. They're saying, look at the scoreboard. It's not going badly. You're serving well. You've moved to game point.
40-13.
And it is funny going back to Goran, isn't it? Because Goran was such a sort of a crazy guy on the court. The way he just went for broke. You never knew what was coming next. A massive second serve. And yet on the court here, he's a totally different character as the coach of Novak Djokovic. Very serious, really intense.
Clips the top of that for backhand side from Djokovic. He hits the forehand. There's that noise, and there's that forehand from Rublev. It sets up the overhead, but Djokovic gets it back. Rublev nearly crashes into the net. The ball eventually ends up in the tram lines. It is deuce, and a result for you. Lucy Schuker and Dana Matthewson are through to the semi-finals of the women's wheelchair doubles. A straight sets win over Bernal and Kruger, 6-2, 6-3. See people crying out from the crowd. Where are we now? We're 8:35 in the evening local time, Wednesday evening. Deuce. Djokovic with the first serve, misses out wide. Ball from the left-hand pocket, bounces it a few times to the face of the racket, and then he'll start with the left hand, the look up, the look down, the pause, and then the bouncing resumes. He looks across, he reaches up, he tosses the ball, and he serves out wide. Oh, it's a beauty of a second serve.
Oh, I can't believe he just went for such a big second serve, particularly when he served a few double faults in this match already. But wow, that took Rublev by surprise. I mean, it shot off the court right in that corner junction.
Djokovic, I actually did one match with Marin Cilic when he bounced the ball before shot clock times 35 times. Didn't make great radio because I was counting, but he now says Marin Cilic, it's a lot. He now says he starts at 20 in his head.
Oh, right.
So he's already 20 in before the shot clock starts.
Sounds like he's seen a therapist about that. Come up with a solution.
Quite a complicated issue there. And Novak Djokovic closes out, and he holds for one game all in this second set. Resplendent in royal blue, I would say there. on the front, Andrey Rublev, with the blue headband, black on the back of the top and black shorts, his Rublo designs. He says it's more than about just tennis, Andrey Rublev, always looking at ways to give back and to think of others. Famously wrote "No to War" on the camera lens after he won a match. And at this year's championships, he was getting some abuse from the crowd. There were some flags from Ukraine as he lets rip with the forehand Rublev and spins around to the forehand, but he nets on the forehand. There was some abuse coming, and the chair umpire asked the flags to be taken away, and he said, "Well, no, I don't mind the flags. Let them keep the flags, but please can they stop saying the bad words to me?"
Yeah, and I quite agree with that. I mean, people need to just grow up and get a grip, really, and respect. I need more of that in life generally, I think.
So down the tee, snap back through the middle, the off forehand from Rublev. It just comes off the racket so quickly. I'm not even sure Djokovic knew it was coming.
I think it's quite easy to read where Rublev is going to hit the ball. Annabelle, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. The way that he sets up for it, you kind of know which direction he's going to go.
Just the speed he's able to put on that forehand when he gets it in the hitting zone. He goes inside in, forehand through the court. Djokovic trying to take a little bit of pace off the ball, just placing these balls mid-court, trying to get Rublev to generate his own pace, and the Russian goes long. But it's Djokovic, he's not happy.
Yeah, it's so weird, isn't it? It's funny how he gets into these kind of moods where, he's sniffing out an early break here in this second set, but he was bellowing away to himself and up to his corner, and such a perfectionist on the court. So something he's not happy about, but I don't know what it is.
Rublev reaches up, serves down the tee. Oof, that was an ace that left Djokovic lunging to his right.
Yeah, and it looked a bit painful the way he pulled up after that. I think he's really nervous, isn't he, of stretching for certain shots where he has to use his legs to protect himself, to pull up. And he's constantly got that in the back of his head.
Rublev has 4 or 5 gold chains that are tucked inside that top of his, and every now and then a couple of them fly out as he slams the ball into the body, and the forehand cross court, the forehand onto the line, the stretch, the owl, the roar, the disgruntlement, if that's even a word, Judy, of Novak Djokovic as Rublev goes to game point.
I don't know about, he's right outside our window here and he is going nuts. He's in control of this set-up, 1-all,
It's weird, isn't it?
I'm not sure what's the matter with him.
Serve down the tee, it is long, there's a little silent fist pump from Andrey Rublev, and Judy, we could read many things into it, because does it have to be that leg? Must it be that leg if he's that unhappy? Is it the conditions? We talked a little bit about the wind, but that would seem strange because, as you said, he comfortably has that first set.
Yeah, or is it anything to do with what we talked about at the start of the show? The fact that he sees Tommy Paul in the semi-final, which, he's maybe feeling like, is that putting any more pressure on him? I don't mean that he would necessarily be afraid of playing Tommy Paul, but just this, going after 22, got a little bit of a niggle going on there, got a rough opponent, it's a little bit windy. I don't know, I'm really surprised to see him as sort of emotionally unsettled as this, given that he's 6-1 up and his record here is just, this is like his backyard.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether it's like, we saw Goran, even if it is earlier, sort of talking about the swing on the forehand side, or is it that the information that he's got coming into this match tactically, even though it's working, a couple of points recently have not been what information he's been given, so he's ready to yell at them and go, well, you told me, if I gave him that kind of ball he would do this, and he's doing the opposite. And we've seen some replays here of Goran with his hands out, like trying to yell back. I mean, the trouble is it's distracting, isn't it, everything that's going on. And I saw him do this at the French when he lost to Wawrinka in that final, when he was well ahead in the match and suddenly started getting incredibly stressed, and the whole match started going against him because of his emotions. And it's weird at such an early stage in this second set to see Djokovic this stressed and uncomfortable.
He's serving now at 1-2. He's the opposite end to his box now, so he can't have... I mean, he can stare and yell at them, but they cannot chat with him because the rules say that you cannot distract your opponent. It has to be the end that you are at.
Yeah, and that was an angry second serve ace from Novak Djokovic. He's just sent down, almost channeling all that emotion into that second serve. That was a risky one, but it paid off. It's like rolling the dice, isn't it?
Didn't even blink as Rublev stares towards this ball, and then he catches the ball in his left hand and he cuts it back with the racket because the serve misses its spot. Djokovic gets back into his routine. He's won his last 38 matches he's played in Australia, which is ridiculous. As Judy was saying, this is like his backyard playing in Australia. The stretch from Djokovic. Rublev is pushed back with the high ball. Oof, he lets it bounce. He's behind the baseline. He plays the inside-out forehand. The rally continues. Inside in, but into the net from Andrey Rublev, who sort of looks quizzically up to his box, as if to say, how did I lose that point?
And how many times does that ball, when he's in defensive positions, hit the baseline, plumb on it, and then it's like a reset, a nullifying of the point, and having to go again. You can see the wind moving the hair of Andrey Rublev that he's got tucked into this blue headband that's tied tightly at the base of his neck. Good serve from Djokovic, moves, eases to 40 love. Yeah, that's that same serve that you've been talking about, Judy, the one out wide, which is so difficult to read, isn't it, off that ball toss?
Yeah, very tough to read, and it's been so successful for him so far.
Game points for 2-all. 8:45 in the evening local time, and Djokovic coming forward off the return of serve. He holds to love. He says nothing. There's no gestures. There's no motions. Is he any happier? I'm not sure, but it's 2 games all.
Yeah, funny kind of mood. I mean, he's like a chameleon, isn't he? We know that there's many different moods that he can bring onto a court, or it can change while the match is going on. But he's definitely pretty stressed, I would say. It's on like a pressure cooker on tenterhooks.
3 minutes to the hour on the match clock. The sliding forehand from Rublev, who stretches and squeaks to the backhand. The overhead is cleaned up, smashed away by Novak Djokovic for love 15, and I feel now we've got into a calm space with Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely started this game, he just looks a little more focused. He played that last point beautifully. The forehand down the line was really set up, and he was into the net very quickly for the loose ball that came from Rublev.
Rublev serves into the body of Djokovic. Djokovic tries to get out of the way, but guess what? He finds the back edge of the baseline again.
Yeah, I mean, literally plumb on the line, and Rublev got it all wrong. It was a little bit tucked into his body, didn't get the racket back in time, and he couldn't believe it. And that's just going to eat away at him once more.
That wide stance of Djokovic, the knee bend, the hop, the slap of the ball as it missed its mark, as Rublev adjusts the sweatband on the right wrist.
He's very still when he's in that return position, and some players are moving their feet, twiddling the racket, but he's very motionless. It's almost like he's could be posing like a statue. He's just incredibly calm in that position.
And he's drawn the error for Andrey Rublev and has love 40 on the Russian serve. Fernando Vicente looking towards his charge. Can't help him at this stage. Rublev, really, the wind picking up. I mean, that reddish hair of Rublev. I think the colour is Venetian, the colour of his hair. Serves down the tee, gets a deep return off the shoelaces, off forehand, backhand cross-court Djokovic. Break point Djokovic. He sort of slaps that double-handed backhand Djokovic, and a forehand through the middle of the court, the off forehand from Rublev, the backhand cross-court on the slide, and Rublev saves the first of the 3 break points.
15-14.
Yeah, Judy, what can you tell us about the balls out there? Because I kept reading a lot of reports that players, and I think even Andy may have said it, that the balls get very sort of flat and sometimes they lose pressure and they're really difficult to hit winners with. I mean, could that be something that's not going to help Rublev in this match?
Yeah, it's possible. I think if I was his coach and he came up my end, I'd be saying to him to play with more height with his forehand. He's hit an awful lot of forehands into the net, and even that one there tipped the top of the net and went over.
Djokovic is approaching, he wants to close out, he wants to get the break. Good defence from Rublev, backhand cross-court. Djokovic thought about coming in, he doesn't. And this time it's a backhand from Rublev into the net. And you just want to give him a cuddle. He looks so forlorn up to his box, Andrey Rublev, Judy, as if to say, what can I do? I don't know what to do out here as Djokovic breaks with 3-2.
Yeah, you're right, Gigi. He's definitely looking a little bit lost out there. He's making a lot of mistakes, I would say. I mean, it's not like they're bad mistakes, but he's giving too many of the rallies away too early by smothering the ball. I don't know why he's doing that, but he needs to give it. He needs to get a bit more shape on both sides, but especially on the forehand side, to try and keep Novak under pressure, keep him on the run, keep bossing him around until he gets something short enough to give him the opportunity to put it away. And of course, Novak, when he's playing with the precision that he often plays with, makes that very difficult to do. And it's maybe exasperation and panic that is causing Rublev to miss perhaps more than he would normally miss.
Yeah, you always play as well as you're allowed to play, don't you? And Djokovic isn't allowing Rublev to bring out his strengths into this match. And it was funny, he went to change ends, Gigi, and he went to go to the other chair. And then he sort of realised he was going past the umpire and go back to his chair, which was a bit odd. So another sort of like moment of distraction there. And then he sat down and quite angrily gestured across to his team that he needs something else, something for his drinks or something he needs. So I'm sure we're going to see a ball kid sort of bring it across to him.
Now he's forgotten something, so that was enough we go, and here we are. And well, maybe it just shows how zoned in and how focused Novak Djokovic, because I think you ask any player, would you like to be a set and a break up on the world number 6 and the 5th seed in a Grand Slam quarter-final, and they say, oh yeah, that would be all right. Take that. But he wants more, and look, this is an opportunity. How many more opportunities will there be as things stand? With his current status at the moment, he couldn't go and partake in the US Open. Rafa Nadal will still be a danger at Roland Garros. He wants that record. He's one behind. Chances have come and gone. There's now niggles with the body, and no disrespect to Tommy Paul, but he could have been facing a Medvedev and Nadal. Tommy Paul in the semi-finals of the Australian Open, he would have taken that at the start for a chance to play another final here. Love 15. Djokovic at 3-2. Rublev, it's a stuttering sway from Rublev as he waits to receive the serve, and he chops back on the forehand, very deep from Rublev. The off forehand stops short from Djokovic. Djokovic with the off forehand trying to find the angle. Cross-court onto the sidelines, down the line goes Djokovic. Forehand, cross-court, Djokovic inside the service box. Squeaky shoes from both. Backhand hit big and deep from Rublev. Rublev slams the forehand. Djokovic there with his forehand cross-court. Now they're both making an awful lot of noise. Djokovic goes inside him with this forehand back up the line, but that's short from Rublev. Cross-court goes Djokovic, who swivels around, goes inside out. Oh, lovely angle. The slice into the net from Rublev, who once again looks forlorn. The stare from Djokovic. He's still not happy. He's gesturing to his box. It was a 23-shot rally, and he wins the points.
Yeah, it's weird. He's so zoned in with them and taking it all out, and they're having to be sponges up there absorbing all this sort of stress, and we don't know what it's about. We don't know whether maybe is it the leg. I mean, I don't think he looks quite as trusting in the leg as he did in the previous match. Maybe it's tweaking a little bit more. I'm not sure, but he's definitely got something going on. And I think he's I don't know, he's sort of heaving a bit with his breath. I wish we could look into his mind and know what was going on, because it's definitely something.
15-all, 3-2, second set. He is gulping in that oxygen. He serves down the tee, the backhand into the mid-court, the slice cross-court from Djokovic. Inside out goes Rublev. Backhand placed up the line from Djokovic. Djokovic with the forehand hits a deeper ball, and then he follows up with a deep forehand through the middle of the court. The squash up from Djokovic. Rublev approaches with a loopy ball, flattened out cross-court from Djokovic. Djokovic backhand cross-court takes the pace off the ball. Djokovic double-handed backhand trying to find that angle. The stretch, the floated slice. Djokovic runs around, goes inside it. Oh, he's missed it. He has missed it. He did all the hard work, and once again, Judy, it's his box, and now the skies that are on the end of it.
Well, the wind, isn't it?
I don't know.
It is very, very windy, and Rublev on the far side of the court from where we are is playing, I'd say, a lot of very short balls, and Novak is in charge of these rallies. He's really making Rublev run, and I don't know if that's why he's fed up that he missed that last shot, but anytime something goes wrong, he's having a glance at his box and a huge kind of sigh of disgust.
15:30. Djokovic nets on the first serve, sort of collapsed into it, stares at the ground.
I mean, it's bizarre, because if you turned up and you didn't know the score and you didn't look at the scoreboard, you'd go, well, the stress level's down one end, he's obviously losing. But he's a set and a break up, but you'd think he has the world hanging on his shoulders at the moment.
Second serve out wide, backhand to the feet of Djokovic, who scoops at the backhand cross-court to the backhand. Djokovic is staying on the baseline, as is Rublev. They're going cross-court with their double-handed backhands. Djokovic out of court, gets back into court and goes inside in with his forehand. Oh, Rublev was teeing up. You heard the noise. He let rip with the forehand, but he doesn't get the height on the ball, and it's 30 all.
30 all.
Well, a lot more margin for error on that last point from both of them, actually, not really going too close to the lines. Djokovic was definitely giving himself big areas to aim into. I just don't know if he's walking as smoothly. I'm wondering whether he's feeling it a little bit more, that leg, and it's bothering him, that he knows it's going to be problematic going forward. I could be completely wrong, but I mean, who knows?
I think that's the answer, isn't it? Who knows what's going on there? Deep return from Rublev, draws the air from Djokovic, who didn't move his feet. This time he just stares at his box. He says, you know what I'm thinking. And Andrey Rublev has a break-back point.
Well, he certainly didn't move his feet on that last one, didn't get the racket back in time, and got caught out. But I feel as if he's almost at the point of hyperventilating out here. He's so stressed.
Into the 6th minute of the 6th game of the second set, break-back point for Rublev. Djokovic serves down the tee. Oh, didn't get a handle on that at all. And Djokovic continues to mutter. Rublev stares and it's deuce.
I mean, tactically, he looks like he's come out into this match with the perfect tactics. He's executing the match. It's tricky conditions, and he's in the driving seat. But he is anything but happy with how this match is going.
One looks angry, one looks sad on Rod Laver Arena in this quarter-final. Oh, Djokovic again. I mean, Judy, just the movement's not there, right? He didn't move at all for that.
No, he didn't. I think he always, for me, he's like a lot of players who are great athletes and great runners. They often make mistakes of balls that look quite simple because they come quite close to them and they don't move their feet because they don't have to run to it. But again, he was looking up at the box again there as if it was their fault that he missed that shot. But that was an uncharacteristically poor shot from Novak.
Second break point opportunity. This to get us back on serve in the second set. He misses the first serve. My word, if he gets broken here, I think we should all hide.
I think so. I feel as if he's creating quite a lot of drama that's going to start unfolding.
It's a lot of tension. 1 hour, 8 minutes. Second serve placed into the box. The backhand cross court from Rublev. Rublev with the inside out forehand finds the sideline. The splits from Djokovic with the backhand. Another backhand from Djokovic. He settles himself. The backhand down the line from Rublev. The sliding forehand cross court from Djokovic. Djokovic break point down. Plays the forehand middle of the court. The backhand placed down the other line. Great depth from Djokovic. He'll spin round now. Go inside in! And that's the roar! A yell, a scream, and a breakpoint save.
But you would feel like this is the Grand Slam final, that the amount of emotion that he's showing in this match. I mean, he's just like a coiled spring. Extraordinary to witness this. And that's got the crowd woken up a little bit.
Thank you.
I think that's got anyone in the area who was asleep awake with that roar.
I think that did him good, actually, just yelling out like that. That was an extended roar, wasn't it? He needed to get that out.
2 break points have been saved. 3-2. Serve out wide. Block back. Djokovic comes in. Forehand deep. Djokovic spins it round. Goes inside into the forehand of Rublev that snaps it cross court. Down the other wing from Djokovic. Backhand cross court. Rublev. Backhand cross court. Sits up for Rublev to bring down with the backhand. Double hander from Rublev to the double hand of Djokovic. Going cross court. Very deep from Djokovic. He then flips the forehand cross court. Oh, now it's Rublev's time to gesture and point to his box and get upset, and he cannot believe that he was distracted. Is that Judy within that point?
That time was already minus 10 seconds.
Oh, the shot clock, is it?
Yes, only exceptions. Amazing.
Wow. Well, that's
Judy, is
gonna
that
fire
the shot
Djokovic.
clock and the bouncing and Djokovic taking too much time?
That sounded like what he was saying. At first I thought it was somebody that had stood up in the crowd during the rally that had put him off, but he was certainly talking about the time there.
He was at minus 10. Serve out wide, the backhand. Oh, there we go. The couple of opportunities for Rublev, who now sort of withers back into his shell. Silence from Djokovic, but he's come through that. And confirmation from James Kiathavong. He has the 4-2 lead and retains the break.
Well, that's added a little extra spice to this match, hasn't it? The fact that when a player openly makes their annoyance felt to the umpire, he was yelling at him. Djokovic would be fully aware of what Rublev was just saying. So that's just given us a little bit of a subplot going on in this match.
As if we needed one.
Well, also it might
Got enough
explain
going on.
They didn't look at each other when they were at the net before it.
Backhand swept across court from Rublev. We go again. 2-4 down Rublev, and a set down in this quarterfinal. Tommy Paul awaits the winner as Djokovic's backhand slice is dumped into the net.
It's stressful watching this, isn't it?
I think you're right, Annabelle, that when he let that roar out, I think that's done him a lot of good. It was almost like he needed to release it all, because he's definitely looking more sort of composed since that point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even that very next point, you could sense in his body and the way he was hitting the ball, it was just a difference. More release, more flowing, more kind of in tune.
Dirty love. Serve out wide, forehands in court, deep return. It's sort of lofted off the baseline from Rublev, and it's 30-15. Beautiful skies we're seeing on our monitor, the sort of purplish blue skies with a smattering of clouds as we approach 9 o'clock in the evening local time on Wednesday night. And the first serve misses from Andrey Rublev, who's 25 years of age. He didn't have the best of build-ups, Rublev, going out in his first match in both of the Adelaide tournaments. That was a shorter serve. He's got Djokovic on the run, but he misses the follow-up on the 1-2 punch. He cannot believe it. He takes a big exhalation of air and thinks tight, and he's telling himself, vamos, vamos, vamos. Big point, 2-4, 30 all. Not happy with the ball toss. Then he follows up, thundering that ball into the net. Djokovic just creeps a little bit further forward. Now he's inside the baseline, takes it with the backhand. The backhand is netted from Rublev, and he, Judy, is break point down after having those opportunities in the last game.
Yep, and 30 love lead in this game, but 3 really poor errors from Rublev there, really poor. I do think Novak is reading him very easily. I think he knows where he's going to hit it. I think he's there, give him the run around. And there we go, double fault. And yelling at his box, Rublev now. And Novak calmly striding to, complete change in the emotions here. Rublev really looks like he's completely lost his way, and Novak looks like he's found his way.
3 times he yelled, so bad, up in his box.
Well, also, since he screamed at the umpire about Novak Djokovic taking too much time, he's lost his own focus and concentration, and he's sitting down and he's yelling at himself. And I guess similar to what we said about the Dominor match, you know, it's an hour and 13 minutes that they've been on the court. That's actually quite a swift couple of sets almost, and he's got his head sort of in his towel.
Talking to himself while his head's in his
he's
towel. He
shaking
just
his head.
cannot believe it.
Very negative all of a sudden. But from his perspective, you know, if you put yourself in his shoes, he's only achieved 3 games in an hour and 13 minutes. So he's feeling terrible because he's not really
when you put it like
making any
that,
progress.
that sounds awful.
Well, it does. You've got to put yourself in his shoes. That's how he's feeling right now. He's been out here for a long time and he's achieved 3 games. but you wouldn't have thought that 5 minutes ago when you were looking at Novak Djokovic sort of about to have a complete and utter meltdown. It's very intriguing, isn't it? I wonder how much, if Novak does go on to win this match, and it looks like he might, I hope there's honesty about what that was all about, because we're really confused.
Oh, Judy, what do you say if you're Andrey Rublev's coach right now? If you could whisper something in his ear, what would it be?
Well, for me, I think he's rushing too much. I do think he's easy to read where he's going to hit the ball, and Novak's reading him very well, but he's making far too many mistakes where he's hitting balls into the net, both off the forehand side and the backhand side. So I'd be saying play with more shape, get the ball deeper, give yourself more opportunity to get into some short balls. Tough though. Novak's serving well, he's moving pretty well, he's moving the ball around well, but I do think he knows exactly where Rublev is going to hit it.
That was an 8th ace off the racket of the 9-time champion, who's serving for 2-0 lead, and he is now 2 points away from that 2-0 lead. Time is flying, an hour and 15 minutes on the clock. Both players in position. Djokovic looking to cut the serve out wide, but he just misses. (5-2) love. Serve down the tee, sort of bunted back off the backhand, goes back behind, and he wasn't that far off, Djokovic.
Wow, that very nearly made it, didn't it? So it came off the strings very quickly. Needed a little bit more space down that line.
It did go down as a close call. It was shown to the Rod Laver Arena crowd. Serve down the tee, and there we have it. Set points, 40-15 for a 2-0 lead. Crowd ready to erupt. Djokovic fans, if he can get it, and he serves out wide. Oh, there's the forehand that's been missing from Andrey Rublev.
40-30.
We've only seen 2 of those all match from Rublev, that trademark cross-court forehand return winner.
He's got a second set point opportunity here at 5-2. Djokovic reaches up and snaps that first serve into the net as Rublev adjusts the shirt on his shoulders, gets himself back into position. Can he keep this set alive for a little bit longer? Rublev takes it early with the forehand. It goes deep. He now plays a forehand back up to the stretch on the backhand. He's in control of this, Rublev. Can he finish it off? Yes, he can, with an inside-out forehand to save the second set point and to level us up at deuce.
Well, it was yet another absolutely blistering second serve. It was almost an ace, wasn't it? It was so close to the line, so aggressive, but Rublev doing a great job getting that forehand into play, and that's the one that I was talking about, that he much prefers to play from that side of the court with that forehand, and he loves that one. We'll lap that one up all day long. A bit more work for Djokovic to do.
Seagulls have joined us. You can hear them around the Rod Laver Arena. Now silence, even the birds are quiet. The net is clipped. And Rublev is thinking, just my luck, because I'd have won that point. Little cry of come on Ruby. Not sure if that's his official nickname, but that's what's been given to him by the crowd. Djokovic down the tee, the backhand's in play. Swung cross-court backhand from Djokovic. Down the line goes Rublev. Rublev goes down the other wing. Oof! That was a big forehand. Oh, he has to play another, but the forehand, the first forehand rocked Novak Djokovic. The second was a winner, and it's break point.
Advantage, Rublev.
Well, I like that nickname, Ruby. I'm amazed that hasn't been used before. It seems an obvious one, doesn't it? But yeah, now he's starting to really get this forehand fired up and perhaps being allowed to use it a little bit more.
Thank you.
How weird. We thought a few moments ago, straight sets, two sets to love lead, very straightforwardly, but a bit more work to do.
Here's a double breakdown, Andrey Rublev, but this to get one of the breaks back.
Let's for service.
See that breeze picking up, blowing the shirts of both men. Djokovic was serving to get the job done, but now his break point down. Serve out wide, the backhand cross court, the backhand up line, the forehand flip cross court from Rublev, cross court and deep from Djokovic. Djokovic backhand, he swings, he gets it, and he saves break point.
Juice.
Well, that was just swatted away, wasn't it? Just took hold of that ball and just said, I had enough of this rally, swatted it round the outside. Unbelievable, acute angle, and that ball was still rising when he struck it between sort of, I don't know, shoulder and head height. I think Rublev could believe that.
Ace number 9 out wide. Set point number 3. Can he close it out? The third time of asking, take a 2-sets-to-love lead, looking for his 44th Grand Slam semi-final and his 26th consecutive win here at the Australian Open. Djokovic serves down the tee, the forehand snap through the middle of the court. He wants it on his forehand, he goes inside out. Rublev, he's coming forward, he's running back, he doesn't need to play it. The game will continue.
Yeah, that inside out forehand
Rublev's
of Rublev.
playing.
Yeah, sorry, go on, Judy.
He's playing much better this game. He's got the wind behind him, and he's hitting much more height over the net, so he's getting better depth, and he's been much more impressive in lots of ways. I hope he wins this game. Make a contest of it.
Yeah, no, give him a much needed boost, wouldn't it, as Djokovic misses with the serve out wide. The ball boy scurries forward, gets the ball, scuttles to the back of the court, an hour and 21 on the clock.
Well, so far, Djokovic has only dropped 8 games in almost 5 sets. I mean, that's extraordinary, isn't it?
And that raw was Andrey Rublev, because that, well, he should have done better with that, Judy.
Yeah, he should have done it. You know, the serve sat up quite nicely for him, and again he hit it in the net. I think it's just when he gets an opportunity, he's just snatching at it a bit because he's had so few opportunities.
Set point number 4 for Novak Djokovic. Misses the first serve into the wrong service box as he was heading down the tee, and the ball is battered away by Andrey Rublev. Set point, try and close it out for a 2-sets-love lead. Djokovic reaches up and serves, kicks it up. The backhand cross court in the angle. The backhand cross court from Djokovic. Backhand redirects up the line from Rublev. He'll spin round onto the forehand side. He'll go inside in for the winner, and set point number 4 is saved.
Brilliant ball striking from Rublev. He is really upping his game, which is so important regardless of what happens if he doesn't, you know, get into this next game and keep the set going. You know, it just has brought his level up generally, I think. And Djokovic didn't even attempt to go after that one. It looked like he pulled up on his leg again. 7 minutes now this game, trying to close out this second set.
Juice. Djokovic serves down the tee, the stretch on the backhand side, sits up high. Djokovic should deal with this, but Rublev is there. Oh! But he couldn't quite get the lift on the ball for the backhand to go cross court, and it is set point number 5.
Djokovic.
That was so unlucky for Rublev there, because he did so well to get the return back. It landed short. Novak whacked it straight at him, and actually he had all the space in the world to make that cross-court backhand pass, and he netted. Djokovic
fans are happy, they are relieved. Their man has a 5th set point opportunity to get the job done in this second set. Serve down the tee, the forehand, it goes long, and there it is, the second set for Novak Djokovic. No response from Djokovic, no response from Rublev. It's all gone rather muted at the end of that second set. But it was 5 times lucky for the 9-time champion. So Novak Djokovic leads by 2-sets-to-love. And while the players take a breather ahead of set 3, let's round up for you everything else that's taken place today on day 10, with the time now 11 minutes past 10 on Wednesday morning.
Welcome to Tennis Breakfast, live from Melbourne on 5 Sports Extra.
So the action, the quarter-final action, started overnight here in the UK with Magda Linette, the 30-year-old, who went through some big changes in recent years, made some changes on the court and came through against former world number 1 and Grand Slam finalist Karolina Pliskova, straight set 6-3, 7-5. She now faces Aryna Sabalenka, who is unbeaten for 2023, yet to drop a set. She came through against Donna Vekic. Now Vekic had the head-to-head 5-1, Sabalenka 6-3, 6-2 on the day. Tommy Paul awaits the winner of Rublev and Djokovic, beating his compatriot Ben Shelton. It is a first Grand Slam semi-final for the 25-year-old. Jessica Pegula shrugs off the disappointment of losing in the quarterfinals of the singles, teaming up with Coco Gauff, 6-1, 6-1 through to the semi-finals. They go in the women's doubles, and from a British point of view, big disappointment for Neil Skupski out in both the doubles and the mixed today. Alfie Hewitt had a good day through in the singles and the doubles, but Gordon Reid lost out to Alfie in that quarter-final of the wheelchair men's singles. Andy Lapthorne disappointment with David Wagner losing out in the semi-finals of the quad doubles, but good news for Lucy Schuker and Dana Matthewson through to the semi-finals of the women's wheelchair doubles. So much going on today. It is day 10 of the Australian Open. And while we await the return of Andrey Rublev from the comfort break and Annabelle Croft from her comfort break, I should, Judy, add some apologies here, because if you're waiting for a cup of tea from Russell, he does send his apologies because I think he's just been called in to Neil Skupski's press conference. So that cup of tea might be a little bit longer in coming.
Yeah, where's his priorities? That's what I want to know. Gigi, I might have missed this. You may well have said this in your roundup, but Rana Stoiber, British girl in the junior singles, is through to the quarterfinal.
Yes, she is. You know, I didn't mention it in that one just there, but that's what can you tell us? What do you know about Rana Stoiber, Judy?
I actually don't know anything about her because I'm kind of out of the sort of performance setup now, so I don't know her. I just I'd seen the result. I do know that she was at the United Cup. Her and Ella McDonald, who is another British player who was also in the girls singles, but went out in the first round. They both were on the bench in the United Cup, so they had that huge benefit of being around Dan Evans, Cam Norrie, Harriet Dart, Katie Bolter, and obviously she's taking that great experience and inspiration with her into the quarters here, which is great.
Absolutely. She is the 13th seed Stoiber, and she'll be taking on Ronika Ewald of Poland tomorrow. That will be on court 5. So we'll either give you the result when we come on air. I assume we're coming on air tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning, or if it's still to be played, we'll keep across and give you updates on that. We are starting the third set. I'm still with you because, as I say, Russell, not only does he have press conference duties to do, but he's also got a tea run to do following that, and it's all or nothing really now for Andrey Rublev as he starts, as he did the second set, as in serving, but it is 15-all on his serve. And Judy, there's some, I'm starting to feel more and more it is that injury, because he had a word with James Kyothawong before the resumption of this third set. He felt his left leg. Kyothawong was on the walkie-talkie as if he was asking for someone, and just then Djokovic did some sort of twiddling in the ankle on that left leg.
Yeah, I would have said that right at the start of the match, I didn't think he was moving as freely or as comfortably as he normally does. But as the match has gone on, I haven't really seen anything that has prevented him from chasing any ball. So unless it's something preventative that he's, I don't know whether he needs the trainer to come on and give it a rub or change the taping on it, but he's doing okay.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be hampering him so far as Rublev rolls that forehand into the net, and immediately in the first game of this third set, Annabelle, he's double break point down.
Yeah, not a great start at all, isn't it? And he's been extremely unlucky with the let cord that Djokovic just got on the previous point, and now that one yet again plumb on the baseline and not able to do anything with it. And now Djokovic will have a second serve to look at, so he's sniffing out an early break to really, you know, start homing in on this match.
Djokovic with the backhand off the return, the stretch from Rublev. He's out of court. Djokovic comes forward. He's at the net. The pass is there from Andrey Rublev.
Well, it needed to be, didn't it? He was under immense pressure in that last point, but what a wonderful passing shot that was. You would never have picked him to win this point from the position he was in, but very dangerous when on the full run like that, particularly out wide on the forehand.
First break point saved in the first game of the third set, with Novak Djokovic leading Andrey Rublev by 2 sets to love, but a second one to save here now with the second serve. Second serve, oh, got a lovely angle. Nice short, tight angle off that second serve. A little bit of a stare from Djokovic, a shake of the head, and it's deuce.
He was surprised by that one, Novak, because it was, I think it's the first proper sort of kicker second serve to the ad side that Rublev's used.
Rublev goes down the tee, steps back for the return, hits a very deep forehand, Rublev, and hits another very deep forehand. Cross-court, lovely angle from Djokovic. Down the line goes Rublev, who now bunts the backhand deep up the line. The forehand is hit flat and up the line from Djokovic. He goes backhand down the other wing. Lots of defence going on here from Rublev. The drop shot from Djokovic. The net found by Andrey Rublev, and it is break point number 3.
That's the first drop shot we've seen from Novak Djokovic. A slight change of tactics. It wasn't a great one. Rublev was there in plenty of time, which is why he's standing and yelling at his coach over the other side, because he should have made that forehand. That will feel horrible. And Novak nodding his head like, got away with that one.
Third opportunity to break in this first game. Blocked back, it's deep, it's an inside-out forehand approach from Rublev, who volleys. Oh, you're kidding me. I mean, Judy, for all the world, I was getting ready to say he saves a third break point. He had the high ball, the court was open, he went cross-court and he missed.
Yeah, he should have. He set the point up beautifully with the deep and wide ball to the backhand side. Came in, took the ball out of the air. It wasn't quite a smash, it was a very high volley. The court was open and he just overcooked it, and he will be gutted to have missed that, because the last thing you want to do at the start of a third set when you're 2 sets down is drop your serve in the opening game.
Yeah, and volleying is an area I've always thought, Judy, that he really needs to work on, doesn't he? Because, you know, he's got these wonderful ground strokes which set points up so often where he's in command, and if he could just learn how to finish more points at the net, it would, I guess, save him a little bit physically and take less stress on his body, but you know, just have an extra layer to his game. But he's never really felt that comfortable up there.
Yeah, I agree, and perhaps working with a Spanish coach, that may not may not come into his game. Maybe he needs a Goran or somebody who was more of a net rusher to help him with that. But you're right. You know, you work so hard to create the opportunity, but you play a great defender like Novak. If you're not prepared to come forward, the rallies will continue to go on and on.
So he has the break, Novak Djokovic, and he's 15 love, 1 love. You heard the squeaky shoes of Djokovic. You've heard the exhalation and the exertion from Rublev as he crunches a couple of balls, gets the winner, takes the point. But he looks up to his box, because their respective boxes ends, and he just sort of shrugs his shoulders as if to say, yeah, I don't know.
I think Novak thought that was out, but I think it's been given as in. Yes, they've just shown it on the screen, and it was the outside edge of the line, but there was venom behind that forehand. I mean, Rublev is so wound up about losing that opening service game that I think extra power going behind those last ground strokes.
30.
Great serve, a lot of muttering from Rublev, who, remembering this, he's lost all 6 Grand Slam quarterfinals that have gone before this. Roland Garros 2020 and 2022, Australian Open before this 2021, and US Open 2017. He was the first of the Russians to make that breakthrough, and then he got the stress fracture that sidelined him in his back, and then 2020 and 2022 at the US Open. Djokovic settles, looks across, tosses up the ball, serves down the tee, snap back. Too deep from Rublev, who slams away the follow-up ball, and again he's going up to his box duty as if to say, it just keeps happening time and time again. I've got no answers.
Yeah, I think he just really is running out of ideas. He's, you know, that looked like a great shot, and it was, you know, an inch or so out, but nothing's going right for him.
He's got these sort of puppy dog eyes at the moment, hasn't he? They're sort of droopy and yeah, needs some attention, I think. And, Djokovic is just speeding up now. The walk in between the points is getting faster. He's more efficient, and I'm just impressed with that serve. The second serve, Judy, just unbelievable. Just the accuracy and the venom behind those second serves.
Yeah, he's really taking it on, but I think, you know, that's perhaps knowing that, especially if he goes to Rublev's forehand, he's going to get, he's probably trying to minimise the opportunities for the opponent to make him run, and you know, your best chance when you're returning is off somebody's second serve, and unless you hit big like that.
Well, if it continues to go like this, and we don't know the extent of the trouble of the hamstring, but this will be absolutely perfect. He's going to be off court in around 15-20 minutes. Minimum exertion, maximum gain, because he'll be through to the semi-finals. Is he looking for the shot clock? Oh, he's looking for the shot clock. Was he? Where's the time? He was looking around, then he was shown. Love 15, enormous serve, misses. So now he knows where the shot clock is, Andrey Rublev. You don't get it off the second serve. Backhand taken early off the serve because it was a slightly shorter serve. And love 2, love 30.
Yeah, he's looking pretty forlorn down the other end now, Rublev. I think any sort of feeling that he may have had at the start, that he had a chance in this match, he certainly isn't giving the body language that he looks like he believes he can win now. It's more about getting games on the board at this stage.
Distraught. Rublev comes forward, goes back behind Djokovic. He stretches to the backhand. The overhead from Rublev should and does smash it away to get on the board in game 3.
15-13.
I think he feels like he's just being humiliated out here in terms of the scoreline. And he's just not
Felt like
making
a bit of anger in that smash there, didn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
I think he'll need some more angry smashes. There's an angry ace out wide for 30 all. Looking to get himself a game on the board. Early stages of this third set having been broken. The slap return is deep. The pickup is good from Rublev. Djokovic somehow gets to it. Rublev, oh, he doesn't. Oh, he put, Judy, I can barely bear to watch. Again, he just pushes it long and it's breakpoint Djokovic.
Yeah, I mean, there was an incredible cross-court backhand there from Rublev. I've no idea how Novak got it back. And then the court was open for the backhand down the line, and he missed it again by just over-hitting it. That's what Novak makes you do.
Yeah, he certainly does. Break point for a double break. That is long from Djokovic, because you know, Judy, it's got to be that good to beat Djokovic.
Yeah, and that's why it's easy to overdo it. You go for too much. It's a bit like, it's the same when you're playing Rafa. They give you nothing, and they kind of tempt you into doing more than you actually need to do. I so want Rublev to get this game.
I know.
I just, it's such a shame. He's 14 games to 3 down here.
Oof. That puts it in, wow, the cold light of day. The overhead from Rublev, the backhand from Djokovic, net, and it is game point for Rublev.
And once again, Djokovic, a couple of times in these last few games, he's just been moving and anticipating the direction of shots, even though he did eventually miss that backhand. But he has read a lot of the play and the patterns that Rublev brings into this match.
Rublev misses the first serve. He doesn't store extra balls, as it were. He just turns around and grabs another one, serves. Djokovic takes this early on the forehand off the serve, but Djokovic has pushed back. He clips top the net, slows down for Rublev to go inside out with the forehand. The pick up from Djokovic. He doesn't want to let this go, Djokovic. He wants to break, but it's long. And there is the hold of serve for Andrey Rublev. And there is the audience. They want to support him. They want to see a match of this. Some maybe feel sorry for him, but he's on the board. Djokovic, though, still totally in control, leading by 2 sets and a break, 2-1.
Yeah, and a bit of a hobble there from Novak Djokovic, because he was lunging and stretching off that left leg for that service return. When the point finished, he sort of hobbled a little bit, and then he walked rather gingerly round the chair And yeah, I guess trying to shake out whatever tweaks that's just done to that left hamstring. I mean, he'd love to have been sitting here at 3-love, wouldn't he? Had a little bit of a chance there.
This, though, Judy, will give him the determination to get that job done, get off the court. He's only dropped one set to this point through the tournament. He wants to spend, at the moment, as little time as possible on the court.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Well, especially in a slam, and for the men in particular, because they're playing best of 5 sets. The more energy you can save by getting the job done quickly, the better, because potentially there's another couple of matches to still to go, and he'll know that because he's done it so many times, not just here but in the other slams as well. So he'll want to get off, but you know, he's still in a good position, isn't he? It's a break up, 6-1, 6-2, 2-1 with a break, and he's been serving well.
Annabelle and I both winced because I mentioned earlier that Annabelle stuck her leg up and it was very impressive, but it wasn't as high as what we've just seen from Novak Djokovic, and we winced because it's painful.
It is. He's just given it a really good stretch out, and then when he stood up from the chair he did some high kicks, so clearly that left leg was a little bit troubled by that previous point of the last game, but it's been worth the stretch because he just served a big ace.
I'd do myself an injury if my leg wouldn't go that high, but if it did,
yes, it would. You could do some can high kicks, Gigi.
Not like that was can-esque. No. Ooh. And if I did, something would go. Missed first serve out wide from Djokovic. So 2 sets up, break up, 15-love. Tommy Paul, who's into his first Grand Slam semi-final, awaits the winner. The overhit off the backhand. It's again, Judy, he's just gesturing to his box as if, and he's just saying to them, how much did I miss that one by?
Yeah, he's down the end, which has the wind behind him, so you've got to factor that in as well. And perhaps he just didn't do that. I do think he's hitting with more height over the net in general now, which is probably helping him to stay in the points a bit longer. But Novak's he gives you so little, and he's serving well, he's moving well, he's hitting the lines. Very, very tough.
It really, really is. Serve out wide, a forehand snap cross court from Rublev. Rublev with the backhand cross court. Oh, just gets it. It's going to go inside in. Yes, he is. Djokovic squash shot, keeps the ball in play. Djokovic is a long way back. Inside the baseline is Rublev, and the error is from Djokovic.
Yeah, he was pushed well behind the baseline, wasn't he? Retrieving from back there. Not where he wants to be, particularly on his own service games. And Rublev might just start to sort of open up the shoulders and just go for broke a little bit more with this scoreline so much in the deficit.
(2-1), 30-15. Djokovic nets off the first serve. Djokovic looking down, focusing, bouncing the ball, and he stops, and he's still going. Now he looks across, tosses the ball. Rublev on the baseline, snaps the forehand back, and long once again. He cannot believe it. He looks very resigned to his fate right now, Andrey Rublev.
Yeah, it just looks like nothing has gone his way. Just those 1 or 2 moments where you need sort of tight points and tight scorelines and just things to create pressure on Djokovic. He just hasn't been able to create it. Big difference between the fastest second serve.
Ace, number 12, that's a hold to 15. That is a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a really big difference between the fastest serve of both of these players, and that is a huge difference, isn't it, Judy, at this level when you're trying to win Grand Slams. You know, the bravery and that what he's got at his disposal, Djokovic, in the second serve, to not allow Rublev to attack him.
Yeah, I think especially if he's carrying an injury, he absolutely can't afford to be putting in, you know, kind of weaker second serves against an opponent of this level. But I think, you know, in that last game, you know, there was. I just think, like Gigi said, nothing is going right for Rublev. He's totally exasperated here. I mean, 2 returns where he just overhit the baseline. Play into the big spaces. Get yourself in the rally. Get the guy moving around. You know he's got a taped up leg. Give yourself an opportunity. I think the whole way through it, he's just not been able to play his game. I think Novak's been very good, but I think that he hasn't helped himself. He's made a lot of errors by rushing too much.
Snaps the first serve into that Rublev. He just looks so despondent right now. He turns around and asks for another ball and serves down the tee in the off. Djokovic laid into that slightly shorter second serve, but he misses the court, and it's game points for Rublev.
Yeah, that was an opportunity for Djokovic. He really got hold of that ball. He just didn't quite connect with the line with it. I just feel like Rublev's just sort of gone into a different zone, actually. He's cutting a very forlorn figure, and yet he's putting a bit more onto the ball.
Off the back edge of the baseline, Djokovic goes again, and it happens for Djokovic. It doesn't happen for Rublev. He's finding those lines, Novak Djokovic, and he's keeping this game alive. He wants the double break. He wants to get off court as soon as possible. Get his interview at the end, should he, as we expect now, come through this. I'm wondering if a question will be asked about how he's feeling. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But Rublev just, oh dear. He won the point in the game, Judy, but the look on his face, he looks sort of lost out there.
Yeah, I think he can't see a solution to this at all, although he is opening a banana right now. Maybe that's the solution. Maybe that's what he's been looking for. Do you remember when he played Dan Evans? There was a great little clip doing the rounds of social media where Rublev went in his bag couldn't find any bananas, and Dan Evans lobbed one from his chair across to Rublev's chair. Yeah, maybe the banana is the secret weapon.
Well, didn't he say
the missing ingredient?
Didn't he say that was what got me across the finish line? Thank you, Dan. That was the difference. I think though, if that was the difference that much, he might need a whole load of bananas to sort this out.
He needs a whole crate.
Oh, bless him, Annabelle. It's tough to see this.
It is. Well, it's stressful watching him, isn't it? Because he gets so upset and so emotional, and he can't control his emotions, and just it just looks like the whole world is on his shoulders. And I don't think he quite realises or appreciates how stressed he had got Novak not so long ago. I mean, it doesn't feel that long ago that we were thinking, you know what, Novak's in such a state here, he could easily let Rublev back into this match, and if it had gone one set all, we're into a fight. But maybe he was unaware.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're exactly right. He just seemed to be in his own world, not really. He then started getting annoyed about the time Djokovic was taking, thinking, well, hang on a second, guys. This guy is not happy, he's not settled, he's annoyed, but now he's focused, he's zoned, and I think the most dangerous thing when you're facing Novak Djokovic, he is calm.
We just saw that great quote from Rod Laver. I won't get it exactly right, but they homed in on the TV, showed a bit of Rod Laver in the stands, and then that quote, the time when you're most vulnerable is when you're ahead, so never let your opponent back in the match. Sort of quite apt for where Novak is in right now in the scoreline.
Djokovic in at 3-2 with the break. Tommy Paul awaiting the winner in the other semi-final. Those two semi-finals that will be played on Friday. We have Karen Khachanov against Stefanos Tsitsipas as Djokovic delivers his fourth double fault of the match.
Yeah, one of those ones where he sort of jumps forward and sort of falls into the court, and quite heavy-footed, and didn't get up after that ball into the net.
Photographers are almost sitting on top of each other, all the lenses trained towards the 9-time champion.
Yeah. Imagine a cartoon drawing of that, can't you, with them all falling all over each other trying to get a view of Novak Djokovic.
(30-15). 13 aces. Just the one set drop. That was to Enzo Quaco, the qualifier from France in the second round, but Djokovic lost it on a tiebreak. Straight sets against Roberto Caballes-Bain in the first round. Straight sets against Grigor Dimitrov, the 25th seed, and then the dismantling and the dispatching of Alex de Minaur, 6-2, 6-1, 6-2. Djokovic serves and it sits up with the backhand return. The forehand down the line from Djokovic. He'll keep it on the forehand and go inside out into the corner. The backhand through the centre. The forehand whip cross court and deep from Djokovic. And it flies off the edge of the racket of Rublev. It flies into the crowd. He once again looks so down in the dumps, and it's game points.
Very calm point, very measured hitting from Novak Djokovic, just gently moving that ball around on the court, and that ball taking off from the surface and just rearing away from Rublev. He could never catch up with that one.
Game points for 4-2. Serve down the tee, the stretch off the backhand, the ball lands in. Djokovic hits the forehand cross court, sits up the backhand up the line from Rublev. Rublev with his backhand floated down the other wing, goes back up the line. He's even got the net on his side, Judy. The net call goes away with Djokovic and he holds for 4-2.
I know, it's just nothing is going right for Andrey Rublev. He's unlucky there because he actually played a really good point. He used the slice on his backhand, which he hasn't used much all match, slowed the ball down into Novak's forehand, and Novak on the back foot tipped the top of the net and bounced over onto the other side. So, yeah, another tough one for Andrey Rublev.
It's not your day, it's not your day. Rublev serves out wide. He goes back behind Djokovic, but he misses wide.
Yeah, I think you're right, Judy. He's just rushing, isn't he? That was another point where he's rushing, getting ready for the next point as well. Just needs to kind of, I don't know, get his teeth stuck into this a little bit more.
Ace number 4.
Easier said than done, though. He's sort of giving the impression, body language-wise, that he's kind of, it's a foregone conclusion.
Goes to the 1-2 punch, he gets it thanks to the wide serve and taking Djokovic out of court.
Well, that was better. Trying to impose his game a little bit more.
His win against Holger Rune in the last round was his first win against a top 10 player at the Australian Open, making his 6th appearance here as Djokovic swivels around and goes inside in, and the stretch in the net found by Rublev. He's not even bothering to have a go up at his box in the morning. That's even sort of gone now.
Yeah, I know, when he starts getting into that kind of mood, it's not great, is it? Massive point right here.
30-all, 2-4, third set. Rublev serves down the tee, it floats back over. Rublev comes in with the inside and Rublev is at the net. He doesn't love being at the net, but now he gets to scamper back because the high ball that Djokovic is playing, and he'll hit the overhead from the back of the court into the corner and for the winner. And a round of applause from Novak Djokovic.
Wow, what a smash that was. That was not easy from that far deep in the baseline. I thought he was going to try and hit a ground stroke from back there, but what a smart move. Pedalled back with the footwork, got himself underneath it and really smashed that one through the court.
And there's another holder serve for Andrey Rublev. Head down, walks towards his chair. But Novak Djokovic knows that he is 2 holes of serve away from reaching his 44th Grand Slam semi-final. He's made it very clear, Annabelle, Djokovic now, it's about, he wants the titles, he wants the record, and he's 1 away from levelling up with Rafa Nadal at 22.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's why we've seen so much stress early on in this match. You know, it was in that second set, wasn't it? But, you know, he's still got something to think about here. He cannot let up, even though he's so ahead in this scoreline. And Rublev played a great game that last game, really striking the ball well. He seems to be, you know, timing it still really sweetly. He's still got that capability and that firepower to hit winners through the court. And, you know, Novak can't afford to take his eye off the ball in this next game.
Just to mark your card about tomorrow, it is day 11, it's women's semi-final day. So from 8:30am, we'll be with you, I'm assuming from 7:30am tomorrow morning, to kick off tennis breakfast, to react to today, to look ahead to tomorrow. Then 8:30am is when the action will start, and it begins with a second meeting, but a first here between Elena Rybakina, the Wimbledon champion, and 2-time Australian Open champion Victoria Azarenka. Rybakina won their meeting last year in Indian Wells, and that'll be followed by Magdalena against Arina Sabalenka. Sabalenka, the 5th seed, Linette, the world 45. That's the 3rd meeting between the two, and Sabalenka won their 2 previous meetings in 2018, 2021. So we'll have every ball of those matches. We'll also be keeping an eye on the other British action that's taking place in the juniors and the wheelchair events. So keep with us for all the very latest, and always the BBC Sport website will keep you up to date with all the bits and pieces. But here is Novak Djokovic looking for his 10th Australian Open quarter-final win from the 13 that he's now been in. '54th Grand Slam quarter-final. I mean, the numbers are silly, really. And looking for his 10th Australian Open semi-final. Spins round onto Rublev and takes return serve on the forehand, then scampers the forehand side, gets it low over the net. There's height on that ball from Djokovic. The backhand played up the line from Rublev, who snaps the forehand cross-court. Oh, he hasn't. Has he? I think he has. Oh, Judy. And look at that nod.
Yeah, he definitely has. He definitely has. It was a much better rally from Rublev's perspective, but I really think that Novak knows exactly where he's going to hit it. It's the way the guy shapes up to the ball. I think it's quite obvious where it's going, and Novak is there to take advantage.
Rublev just sort of, again, looked forlornly at the line. Into the net, off the serve goes Rublev. It's 40-love. Novak Djokovic has only lost 1 match since returning to the tour in September of last year. That was Holger Rune, the Paris Masters final. That is 27 wins and just the 1 defeat. More frightening numbers from Novak Djokovic. For his opponents, at any rate. Game points for 5-3. Djokovic with the serve, misses out wide. Twisting the racket the right hand, Andrey Rublev. Swishing the racket softly from side to side. Looking up at the big screen, now looking ahead. Rublev looking like the weight of the world is sitting on his shoulders as Djokovic puts in a 5th double fault.
By going for a huge second serve again.
He won't be too worried at 40-15. 35 years of age now, Novak Djokovic. 4th seed, 5th best player in the world right now, but should he win the Australian Open, not only will he claim his 10th title as he goes for the drop shot with Rublev. Rublev scoops it up and Djokovic puts the lob up. Rublev gets back with the forehand, snaps at it, doesn't find the court. Little bit of cat and mouse. Djokovic coming out on top, a game away from the semi-finals. Not only would he win his 10th title here, should he win the title, number 10, he'd also go back to being world number 1.
Well, he's used that drop shot so sparingly, but each time he's won the point, and that was a pretty impressive one right there.
Thank you.
Rublev spins around the off forehand onto the service line, the backhand down the line from Djokovic, forehand up line deep from Rublev, and the net is found by Djokovic.
15-love.
Serving to stay in the tournament at 3-5, 15-love. Ace out wide, he's not done yet. He wants to at least ask the question of Novak Djokovic. Ooh, wasn't too far away from back-to-back aces. Three, 5, 30-love. Rublev serves down the tee, the stretch off the backhand. Rublev scoops up the backhand and pushes it cross court. The tram lines are found by Novak Djokovic, and it's 40-love for the Russian.
Well, that was 3 quick points in succession, wasn't it? Just 2 minutes short of the 2-hour mark here. Looks like he is going to force Novak to come and serve for the match.
Collapses into that first
He
serve.
does look thoroughly fed up, doesn't he?
He just looks so down in the dumps. Serve down the tee. Whoa! Service return winner from Novak Djokovic.
14.
That was hit at a frightening speed.
Yeah, there wasn't probably enough on that second serve, and he just took it,
Thank you.
thwacked it away.
2 minutes shy of 2 hours. Djokovic, the forehand, gets it in play. He wants to get the job done here. Plays a very deep backhand forehand snap cross-court from Rublev, who then dumps the backhand into the net. No pace on that ball at all, and it's still game point, but things tighten up a touch.
Very resigned look on his face, Andrey Rublev.
He's had that for almost the entirety of this match, hasn't he? Game point, serve down the tee. Djokovic has got the point underway, goes back behind. He will, okay, two things here. He will take this match over the 2-hour mark, but only just. And he will, Judy, and that's all he could do at that stage. He will ask the question of Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, he absolutely has to. Of course, it's do or die now. But, you know, he's got to make the returns. He's got to get them in play and at least give himself a chance to get into the rallies. Too many returns, I think, throughout this match that have not gone into play. I know that Novak has served extremely well as well, but when he has the chance, he's got to get himself into the rallies to give himself any chance to break here, and he's got to hope that perhaps there's a shift of focus from Novak, or maybe relaxes a little bit, maybe, yeah. I doubt it, but he's got to hope. Although I would have to say, looking at him sitting on the chair just now and the way that his demeanour has been for most of this match, I don't think he thinks he has any chance to win this. I don't think he has from pretty much the outset.
Yeah, that's the issue that moving forward Andrey Rublev is going to have to look at and to deal with. He's now going to be 0-7 in Grand Slam quarterfinals. So Novak Djokovic steps up, 4 points from the win, and is placed back in the Australian Open semi-finals, 5-4.
Players are ready. Quiet, please.
2 hours on the match clock. James Gethron calls order within the Rod Laver Arena as Djokovic. It's unreturnable. Lovely angle he got on that serve, and he's 3 points from the win.
Well, what a way to start a service game like this, of this importance, and yet again coming up with that wide serve. It's such an acute angle. It's, even if you know it's going there, it's almost impossible to get to.
Not as many bounces, but still a fair few.
It's for service.
Top of the net is clipped. Djokovic wants to get this done now. His last defeat to a top 10 player in any competition was in Roland Garros 2022 against Rafa Nadal. Ace, number 14. He looks up to the skies as if to say, that's what I've been looking for. This will be his 26th consecutive win in the Australian Open and his 39th consecutive match he's won in Australia. Adelaide was his 92nd title, and he's looking for his 22nd Grand Slam title as the crowd just can't contain themselves.
For you. Please respect them. Thank you.
Just as Djokovic was about to serve then. He's now ready, the 9-time champion, reaches up, serves down the tee and misses.
It's kind of a hushed silence come round the arena, hasn't there?
Well, they're quite a loud bunch in here this evening. What day are we? Wednesday. Huh. Like a weekend crowd. Djokovic serves down the tee. The backhand is in play. The slice from Djokovic off the backhand side. The forehand netted from Andrey Rublev. And after 2 hours and 2 minutes of action, Novak Djokovic has 3 match points.
Thank you.
So here we go. Comfortable evening for Novak Djokovic. But the crowd are just getting a little bit leery towards the end, and Djokovic is not prepared to serve until they are silent. Shakes his head. I think Rublev just wants this done now. Put him out of his misery. Right, everyone is quiet and well behaved. Djokovic serves out wide. The backhand is deep. The forehand through the middle of court from Djokovic, and the forehand is netted from Rublev, summing up his evening. But this is all about the 9-time champion Novak Djokovic. He wasn't settled as first, but what a win. 6-1, 6-2, 6-4 into his 44th Grand Slam semi-final, his 10th Australian Open semi-final, and still on course for 10 titles at Melbourne Park and to regain the world #1 ranking. Another excellent performance from Novak Djokovic, who is through to the Final Four. And Judy, maybe he will reveal or not why he wasn't happy at certain stages, but another, and I know Rublev didn't have much of a game plan out there, but another great performance from Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, it really was. He was very, very solid on serve. I mean, when he started with a double fault, we thought, wow, that's not like him. But he served really well. He does what he always does. You know, he really makes you suffer out there. I think that he was able to read Rublev fairly easily. I think he knew by the way the guy shapes up on the forehand and the backhand side where the ball's going, and he's so quick and defends so well in any case, but really didn't give Rublev any room to maneuver, and Rublev sadly rushed a bit, panicked a bit, I think ran out of ideas quite early, and actually looked resigned to defeat from probably quite early in the second set, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Judy. It was exactly that, wasn't it? I think Djokovic just did not allow him to play his best tennis, and I think also, as you'd said, you know, you almost feel like you have to overplay to be able to keep up with Novak, and there were a lot more unforced errors than probably there had been in previous matches coming into this, and that's just purely the stress and the reputation and, you know, everything that Novak brings out onto this court. So you know, it wasn't the match we expected. I thought we were going to get into a real humdinger of a dogfight, but I'm just more intrigued by what those stress levels were for Novak in that second set when he was up. He was the break up and he was just going mad at the camp, and I'd love to know what that was all about. But once he got under control, he kind of steamrolled through.
We've got to be asking Russell or David or whoever's in his press conference to ask that question.
Yeah.
And I think I've just seen Russell's come back, Judy, and he hasn't got a cup of tea for you, so I hope you have words with our correspondent that he's not looking after the Melbourne guests properly.
He's fired.
Wow, Russell, a lot's gone on since you've been away. We'll get a response. Russell can have a right to reply after we've heard from Novak Djokovic, who's making his way to the centre of the court, and he is about to speak with Jim Courier.
We were here 2 nights ago, and you said that match 2 nights ago against Alex de Minaur was the best match you've played this year. Was this one even better?
I would rank it as number 2, but very close to the performance of 2 nights ago. Yeah, I cannot be happier with my tennis. Honestly, I've been playing very solid from back of the court, and really love playing in these conditions in this court. I've said it many times, you know, I love playing here. Definitely the most special court for me.
How about the conditions tonight, which were a little different? You've played here just about as much as anyone. This is pretty breezy. I can feel it now. It's a lot of wind down here. How is that to play, and did you have to make adjustments for this breeze?
Yes, you have to make adjustments and adapt to the conditions. Obviously, it wasn't as breezy. I think around 6 o'clock when I was warming up, and you know, all of a sudden it just started at the beginning of the match. Especially from this end, you know, you have a strong wind in your back. Maybe for the people watching on the stands or on TV, they don't see much of a difference. But for us players, it makes a huge difference. You know, if you're playing on that end, you're playing with a lot of pressure, and you have to kind of pick and choose your shots, maybe open up the court a little bit more. The ball toss is a little bit of a gamble from this side, but you know, overall, I think that the score line in the first 2 sets doesn't speak the truth or the reality of the match. You know, it was some really close games that we had. Andrey is a great opponent. He's a great player. I have tons of respect for him. You know, one of the biggest forehands, one of the quickest players on the tour. You know, I knew what the game plan was. Obviously, you know, one thing is to imagine how you want to play, and the other thing is to execute it on the court. But I think if I have to sum it up, all the important shots and important moments, I found my best tennis. So that's what makes me, I guess, the most pleased tonight.
We know coming into this tournament, there were some days when you weren't able to practice. You were resting and trying to protect your body. What has it been like for you routine-wise? How different have your days off been in this tournament than in past years here?
Well, to be honest, I've been connected to machines more than I have been connected to anybody else or my bed or anything else, really, in the days off. I've tried about any biofeedback machine there is in this planet in order to get my leg ready, and it worked. I'm going to keep going. So you know, I miss tennis on the days off, but at the same time I think it's important to be smart and wise, I guess, with the body in these particular circumstances where it's more important to recover and get ready for next challenge.
Well, it's been incredible to watch you reach your 10th semifinal, given all the circumstances. And if I'm doing the math right, let's see, 9 titles, this is your 10th semifinal. You're pretty good when you reach the semifinals in this tournament, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I'll try to keep on keeping good on the court. Keep on being good.
That's pretty good. You're good at it. You're going to play someone who is going to experience his very first major semifinal in Tommy Paul. You guys have never met. So you probably in the locker room you met him.
Yeah, in the locker room we met earlier today.
What are you anticipating in that matchup on Friday?
Well, obviously he doesn't have much to lose, you know, as you said, first time in his semifinals of the Grand Slam, and he's been playing some terrific tennis, I think, in the last 12 to 15 months. He's got a great coach. I know his coach. He's been on the tour for a while. So yeah, I got to be ready for that match, obviously mentally. You know, not approach it any way differently than I have the last couple of matches. You know, if I play this way, I think I have a good chance to go through.
Do you remember your first semifinal in a major? Do you remember who? I don't have the answer. I'm just asking. Do you remember what it was like for you to experience that?
I think it was a U.S. Open back in 2007. I was fortunate to. It seems quite a long time ago, actually now, but yeah, I was fortunate to win that semifinals. But you know, in the finals, I lost to Roger, and yeah. Let's give him a big round of applause to Roger, guys. Let's go. He deserves it. Had some great battles over the years with Roger, that's for sure. You know, tennis misses him for sure. I've seen him dressing up very sharply for Fashion Week. I've seen him the other day.
Did you see him skiing also? He's been on the slopes?
Yeah, I've seen him skiing. I want to challenge him for a little skiing race in a few years' time. But yeah, he's enjoying life for sure. It's nice to see that. Obviously, for tennis, he's been one of the most important players ever to play the game. So, you know, big regards to him and his family. I would like to just say something. Today is a birthday of my physiotherapist, who is not here at the moment. He left to the locker room, but I want to say happy birthday to him and happy birthday to my mother. It was yesterday. So my mom is here. Love you, Mom. And happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I just want to say, obviously, parents, I talked about them a lot, how special they are in my life, but I also want to, you know, give huge credit to my physiotherapist, Miljan. He's been around for over 15 years, and he has been through hell with me this last 10 days, you know, with all the treatments and everything that he has to endure on a daily basis. From morning to night, he's with me all the time, so he deserves a huge credit, and I want to thank him. I want to say I'm very grateful to have him in the team.
Well, Novak, thank you. A great effort tonight. Let's let him hear it. Novak is into another semifinal.
He's into his 44th Grand Slam semi-final. Well, it's been a couple of minutes dissecting this one. We've got our semi-final lineups complete. Firstly, correspondent Russell Fuller, would you like a right of reply as to why you returned?
I don't know what the
tea
accusation was.
Well, because you didn't. You promised Judy and others in the commentary box tea and coffee, and you returned empty-handed.
No, I did not return empty-handed.
Did you bring that? Oh yes.
Cheers.
Oh yes.
Gigi.
Oh, I see. Oh, well done, Russell. Sorry, I thought you'd come back without the tea and coffee.
I was rather delayed en route because I wanted to speak to Neil Skupski after his double disappointment today in the men's doubles and the mixed doubles, and he was a little bit delayed coming to the press conference room, so I didn't quite have time to deliver the tea and coffee when Judy and Matthew, our engineer, probably would have most appreciated it, which is in the heart of the match, rather than having to wait for match point.
No, I'm sure it's much appreciated as Novak Djokovic's bags have been taken from him. He'll make his way off the court. And Judy, I thought it was quite open of him in there in terms of discussing what he's been going through the last 10 days or so.
And I've known Milan, his video, for probably about as long as well, certainly as long as he's been working with Novak, and he's knows his body inside out. And I know that they will have tried everything, which he alluded to, every possible thing that they could get their hands on to help him to recover and to be able to perform. And yeah, it certainly is working. That although he may have looked a little uncomfortable right at the start of the match, it clearly loosened up as he started to play, which is often the case with niggles. And yeah, I mean, he was covering the court incredibly well. He served well, he played the big points well, and he's right, Rublev had 5 break points, didn't manage to get any of them, but he really, at the end of the day, Rublev had no answers, I think, because Novak was just too good.
Which is why matches like this, Russ, are perfect for Djokovic. He's nursing that injury, but to get off the court in just over 2 hours, it was comfortable against Alex de Minaur in the round 4. He's only dropped 1 set to this point. It's exactly what he needs to be doing.
Yeah, and the intrigue really from a Djokovic watching perspective in the first week really did revolve around that hamstring problem, which again he was talking quite a bit about and was clearly a major issue for him in the first week. Once he's fully fit, it's very hard to have really any optimism for opponents like Alex de Minaur and even Andrey Rublev as the 5th seed here. Rublev doesn't have a lot of scar tissue against Djokovic. Yes, he's got scar tissue in Grand Slam quarterfinals because they'd only met 3 times before, but you just find it impossible to really see how Rublev is going to hurt Djokovic. And in the semi-final against Tommy Paul, he's going to be again an overwhelming favourite. Tommy Paul has absolutely nothing to lose, as Novak himself said there. I still do think that Stefanos Tsitsipas and potentially Karen Khachanov could ask him some very probing questions in the final, should that be the match we have to look forward to on Sunday.